Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Saturday edition of the Minnesota Varsity League State Tournament. My name is Thunder McFadden, and I am joined by my best friend, Master Shake, Jake the Dad, the artist formerly known as Master Shake. Now, Jake the Dad, my man Jake. So good to see you. I'm so happy to cast with you. How are you this morning?
Doing good, man. I've been pretty excited and impressed with how well the state tournament has gone so far. It's been primarily flawless. We've had insane matches on every single stream, and I don't use the word insane very lightly. Last night was incredible for Valorant. We saw a pretty Cinderella sixth seed go all the way and make it to second place. We saw an
Yeah.
absolutely dominant team showing that they are one of the best teams probably in the country as
Mm-hmm.
far as it goes in Valorant. And then on Thursday, the Super Smash Brothers tournament, there wasn't a single game that wasn't just a nail biter. So I'm really
Oh, I
looking
know.
forward to chess this season. I don't know if anybody saw last season's chess, but last season we had just some for chess, like absolutely nuts plays if you're a big chess player. So I'm here. I typically don't cast. I like to leave that to the professionals like Thunder. But I happen to be our resident knows a lot about chess guy, so I'll be here and hopefully give you guys some good commentary on understanding what's happening today.
Always, always, always a pleasure to cast chess with you, Jake the Dad. So, Jake, I'm looking into that sweet camera of yours, and just behind you, I see a little. That's not like a paperweight or something on your desk. That's not like that's not. Do you keep pens in the top of that? What do you do?
This is tall or taller than my upper half of my body.
Yeah.
In previous years, we had just basically a cup trophy that was about the size of my water bottle, literally.
Yep.
And this year,
Now.
we have decided to do it up. So when you win the championship cup and Minnesota Varsity League, you're going to have a trophy that's bigger than anything else in your trophy case at school, and it's going to have a big old chess or Valorant or Minecraft symbol in it. We have
Mm-hmm.
big honking medals that are heavier than any sport that you've gotten. So we want to make it so that MNVL and esports is more hype, more legit, more exciting, and bigger than your traditional sports. So,
Mm-hmm.
kind of little goal that I have
Of course.
in how we look at esports in the state.
Of course, and it's something that we work on continuously here at MNVL, right? Is to make these esports available to our students and to make them a reality for the students, right? Not just some sort of like, okay, this is a club that you can join. It might exist next year, might not, but we can have some fun doing it. We can have some fun playing a little Call of Duty or playing a little chess, and doing that sort of thing. No, 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 no. We're well beyond that. We have leveled up well beyond that in what we are
Hmm.
doing here at MNVL. So we want to thank all of you, the viewers, the fans, the parents of the students, and also the students who are playing. We thank you all so much for your participation and also for being involved and for trusting us with your esports. That's what we love to do here, and I think Jake makes a great point. What we will do eventually is we will have a more legitimate league than probably most any of them out there, right? That's what we do. It's fantastic. It's fantastic to provide this type of competition and this type of platform for our students so that they can come out and compete in the ways that they want to and in the ways that best serves them, right? I mean,
Yeah,
some of these students are students that would go try out for a basketball team. Plenty of them are not, right? So to find your niche and to find a place where you can belong, where you can build a team, and do your thing, that's all we want.
yeah. I mean, the reason why all so I won't go too deep into it because we want to get into the chess action. That's what everybody's
Mhm.
here for. But every once in a while, I join the desk and I like to talk about what we're doing here at MNVL, give a little bit of insight behind the scenes, and I'm going to leak some announcements that we're going to be doing in the next couple months, including a couple smaller announcements tomorrow, and some bigger ones next week. And then early January, you look out for early January because there is a monumental announcement that not even Thunder knows about yet.
Mhm.
So in early January, there is going to be an announcement that's going to blow everybody away. Um,
Yes,
so, uh, so sorry, production, is that we're getting into a game?
we are. Yes, they were saying we are
Awesome. Let's
getting
get into
ready
it.
here, Master Shake. We have Scolio taking on Abdul. Now, these are the 8 and 9 seed players
Yep.
in our chess league. So expecting some very tight action here today as the board is getting organized, maybe switching sides or whatever. But
Yeah.
figuring things
So
out, and we will have everything going here.
So to give everybody an insight into the chess tournament today, everything's a best one up until semifinals. Once you hit semifinals, it's a best of three. The home team or the team with side choice advantage for game one is always going to be the higher seed. So in
Hmm.
this case, Scolio is the higher seed. So they will be able to choose if they're going to be the white or black pieces. Almost always, you see players choose white. There's just an inherent advantage in going first.
Of course.
Once we get to the semifinals, there will be a best of three, and every time the loser gets to choose the side. So if whoever lost the previous game is going to be able to choose a side, so having that home field advantage, doing well in the regular season, does benefit you in the state championship. In chess, I wouldn't say more than others, just because of map choices can be pretty monumental in
Mm,
most games, other than like Rocket League, where map
sure.
choice doesn't really matter.
Right. Just
Um,
cosmetics.
uh, yeah, so we had some really arch state champion from last year is not returning. That was South Noah, who came with some
Hmm.
incredible play, including a 1 second draw in a game he was severely down in. So it looks like
Yeah.
we're starting out with a pretty standard opener. We have let's see, it's Abdul and Scolio. Okay, because Scolio's name is a little bit different here. It says Fudge. They're just developing their pieces, pretty standard. In the opening of chess, it's usually a textbook or a theory based opener. Opens have been done so much that uh, uh, typically you're just going to see something based on theory until you get to the mid game where you're going to see a little bit more creativity come in. So both players are developing their pieces. Looks like Scolio's got a good strong opening on or control of the center. Looks like he has also been able to move both of his bishops out and activated them, basically get them ready and in play. And if he has some pretty neat plays here. He could decide to take out that knight on the C6 uh,
Uh huh.
area, and then jump in and take out um, take that middle. There you go, right there. I see. So this is a great play. Why?
Hmm.
Because if his knight takes it, well then that's queen.
Yep.
Right, his bishop's gonna go ahead and he's pinned that knight to the queen. He's also threatening the queen right here, which even if the queen just has to move out of the way, it's kind of a wasted move for Abdul, and Scully is able to advance his pieces even a little bit more. The generator really likes this play. I would anticipate either popping this bishop over to put him in check, um, which then
Yep.
there we go. Didn't like that play as much, but even if he takes it with a pawn, he will be a pawn up because this knight should be able to take this pawn and threaten the queen.
Good stuff. I like what we see there, protecting his bishop. That was Scolio protecting right to get the queen kind of out of the way. I like that foresight, right? And that's something that's very, very important, obviously, in chess, is not just thinking about your move that you're currently making, right? But thinking two, three moves ahead and backing up your pieces, right? Backing up the
Oh yeah.
pieces that you are currently moving and making sure that they have a defense so that you can either take effective trades, right? Or take a piece off your opponent when you don't have to trade.
Yeah, at higher levels of chess, it usually is who can he decides to go ahead and protect his knight. He could have gone put his knight right back in that real safe pocket that threatens a lot of different areas. I like
Yeah.
the knight being in that pocket he was just in. Um But, looking like probably the next logical move for Scolio is to take a castle. Castle could come out from the side of Abdul as well. Probably gonna want a castle on his strong side where all his pieces are. Would be very unwise to castle queen side, for him.
Mhm.
He's going to move out this, bishop and offer the sacrifice or the trade. Gonna have to go ahead and take this with the queen, otherwise that was just simply a blunder. Um Believe the queen can take this, shouldn't be in any trouble. Um, but then, yeah, I would anticipate probably a castle after this coming out of Scolio. You need to get um, that king protected, but at the same
Mhm.
time, he's got most of the left side of his board developed. So I
Yeah.
almost would say I would want a castle on that side. So he might look to move this knight over to a3 and then try to do a queenside castle. Although even there, I don't know. I really
Yeah.
like Scolio's development here so far. Yeah, he has to take that.
Yeah, and that's a good take for sure. And like you were saying, Jake, castling queenside or kingside, a little bit of a difficult decision to make right here because okay, do you kind of dive in behind where you have established your better pieces? You can do that, but sometimes that can bury you. And if you let black have an opening here, right, they can get behind your line. And if your king is buried, I mean, it's tough, tough, tough to get out of that corner.
So he's going to look for a play. Yep, this is a good play. So what he does here, oh, the generator hates it. But I'm looking at it as you can attack with that knight, and then you're also threatening check while attacking with the knight. I wasn't sure if that taking that pawn was going to be the best move. Apparently, the generator thinks now black has the advantage. You can
Hmm.
see that white does have a two-piece advantage currently. But I'm trying to find this move that the computer thinks is just no bueno. I think the reason why it's no bueno is because now that the king is protected,
Hmm.
um, this this rook or castle is pinning the knight to the queen. You cannot move that knight, otherwise you lose your queen. Now, I don't think you want to take that knight because then you lose your rook for a knight, and that's just a simple +2 for the side of for white side.
Right.
Wow, the generator really likes black's positioning here, even though black is down a piece. I
Yeah.
am wondering what I am missing. I'm sure chat is looking at it, but I'm not looking at chat right now.
Yeah.
Good defensive structure too. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I wonder if maybe it doesn't have to do with a little bit better pawn positioning for the side of Abdul right now, right? Obviously we're not in the generation, we don't know. But great, great stuff and tense action here
I
on the board as we get into this first matchup.
I think this is gonna end up in a trade here. I anticipate the queen taking the knight, and then the other queen taking this knight. Um, although that Scolio's queen is in a dangerous position both offensively and defensively. It's secluded out there by itself, but it also is has several areas to attack.
Yeah.
Just has to be careful it doesn't get caught out. Everything is covered right now. So what Abdul needs to or Scolio really needs to do is start developing this left side, and he does. He needs to
Mm-hmm.
get that knight out there. He needs to get that rook developed. Otherwise, those are just useless pieces. They might as well not even be on the board if they're trapped back there.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. And you mentioned that obviously that queen, both the queens taking the knights there, that's all fine and good, but Black side queen is in seemingly a great position, whereas Scolio's queen is just hanging out, kind of in the middle of no man's land, right? You know, you can't really attack too much of anything without trading out. So you said it. Develop the rest of your pieces up that left side of the board is really what you have to do if you're Scolio right here.
Yeah, I think what might look like a good line for him is an F3, knight to F3, and then knight to E5. That position looks really, really strong because then you're attacking. You're protected from all pawns. You don't want to move that pawn up. The pawn from let me see, what is that, F7 up to
Mhm.
attack that E5 position because then it exposes your king more. It also takes away the protection out from your pawn on E6. So I really like that line, and we'll see if he goes for it. May try to main try not another good line here would be perhaps an H3 and G4 to attack the bishop, and make that bishop retreat or go further into enemy lines, which is also pretty dangerous. You'll notice, check this out. Most of Scolio's pieces are on dark squares, making the light squared bishop for Abdul essentially useless right now.
Mhm.
Um, he can't really touch anything. And this is also important because Abdul is realizing I've lost my bishops. I'm going to now use my pawns to protect those diagonal advances, and he only needs to protect one, right?
Right.
Since or avoid. So he could protect all the light squares, but he's already got the dark squares developed. you don't just touch those light squares. That bishop's useless.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Yeah,
but
I
he
think
decides to go with his b4. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. You're good. I think what you were saying earlier, right, about not only the bishop being kind of just hanging out to dry. What do I do? What's my responsibility here? Because I'm on the light squares, right? And then for the side of Scolio, if he goes with the move that you were talking about, right, knight to f3 and then bouncing there up to e5 in that nice pocket where the other knight was early in the game, right? Kind of a perfect spot to just hang out and attack from if you're the side of Scolio.
What am I missing here? I'm missing something because this looks like a dead queen. I think it only has one position it can move to, and that's e7. Obviously, the
Yep.
generator doesn't think this is a dead queen. I don't think there's a single other position that it can move to where it is not dead. So I think he has to move his queen to e7 here, which is still a pretty strong position for the queen because then it gives it the escape down the that diagonal. There it goes. Yep, queen to
Yep.
e7. Only safe position for the queen. Um, God, I really want him to go and develop that knight to f3 and then straight up to e5. God,
Mhm.
that is such a dangerous position, especially when you're controlling all the dark side squares. The bishop can't touch you. The only things that can threaten your knight at that point are the queen and your two rooks, and they are not in position, and you are covered by literally you're covered by Abdul's pawns, um, in that area. So, and then you're threatening 8 squares with that knight that are all high value squares, except for maybe like one. Mm, yeah, probably the only low value square is like a c4 because there's nothing going to be happening there. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that knight development. But we'll see if he moves it. I also am not a big fan of this king being alone in this back file. That's always dangerous when you're looking at possibly a doubled up rook, but he's not facing any of that danger just yet.
Yeah, they are pretty much just dead even across the board, even as far as positioning, obviously, besides Scolio's queen being very deep in enemy territory.
Ooh.
And now we see a move for Abdul that, as you like to say, that generator does not like that for Abdul.
Well, that's a free
Does like it
pawn
for
now.
Scolio, yeah.
That's a free pawn for Scolio. Scolio can just go ahead and take that C7 pawn and threaten the rooks. He's not going to ever take them because he's not going to lose his queen for that.
Yep,
Um, there are some trades where you'll trade a queen for a rook, but that's usually only if you can get two rooks for a queen. You'll want to take that trade.
sure.
Um, yeah, but then again, this pawn doesn't do a lot. I almost say let the pawn live. He's not getting anywhere. That's not a pass pawn. He's by himself. I mean, I guess he's got this D file pawn. He's going to attack that queen. There you go. There's also another strong move.
Yeah,
But it's just going
absolutely.
to make the queen retreat basically back to the spot it was in. Or queen could do some cheeky going to like an e2, but really doesn't do anything for your position other than potentially trap your queen in a dangerous locale.
Yeah. Yeah, really it's just gonna make your opponent nervous more than anything, right? Which and that's kind of what Scolio did at the beginning of the game, right? So getting the queen in there, kind of causing a disruption, making a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, but not making any major moves on those back lines.
hmm Going for a think here. And you also notice something that's important in chess is time. You can win by capturing the king or getting checkmate, but you can also win on your opponent running out of time.
Yep.
That is a win for whoever holds the higher time. So once your time ticks down, you're done. You lose.
Yep.
So right now, Abdul is at a severe disadvantage, about 2 minutes down as far as time goes. Scolio's got some time to think here. I still think that knight play is good. At this point, the stream delay might even be catching up to the point where our competitors are not supposed to be in stream. If you're a competitor, don't be in stream right now, unless
Right.
you're watching another game. That's okay to watch your opponents. I mean, watch other competitors, but not your own game. But that's why we put it on a big delay. If you're listening and trying to hear my advice on what moves you should do, I mean, you're first of all, you're probably in trouble if you're listening to me.
Yeah.
And then number two, right, like you're losing 3 minutes on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
you mentioned that time being a major, major factor, right? And we even saw it in the state tournament last year where there were games in which the clock was the deciding factor,
yeah.
right? And that, you know, that is what it is. You have got a time limit and you have got to make this happen in that amount of time. If you don't, peace, you know? So
Hmm.
it's about making effective and quick decisions here in the last two. Well, it's 2 minutes for Abdul. And Scolio's got a solid almost four there.
Scolio's got to develop some of these pieces. I mean,
Yep.
he's got four value pieces of one of which one is in a position to actually harm something. Where um, Scolio actually has more pieces developed. Um,
Hmm.
but he's just moving his queen around. I feel like you put your queen back in that location because you were threatening a pretty significant check. Move that knight. I want that knight moved.
Yeah.
It's so strong in this matchup right now
Right.
because it can't be attacked diagonally. All yeah, it's really strong in that position. You move the knight. I think you also. Ooh, it really doesn't like that. I think you also got to develop your pawns. Maybe go for some pawn sacrifices. Move the. I mean, you could also move c4 up. C3 to c4. Take
Hmm.
sacrifice that pawn. Take it. Trade it with the knight, and then all of a sudden your knight's got a few squares that they can move to and get freed up. And you busted up that center pawn. I mean, look at how many other pawns are connected to that. I mean, 2
Right.
more, it's the entire center. Blow up that center. I think you come on, take the sacrifice. You are up. It's not a sacrifice even. It's a trade.
Yep.
So, and there's nothing that bishop can do. What a useless bishop for the side of Abdul. I
Yeah.
mean, everything is on the white squares. But he pops this pawn forward. I think that's just maybe nerves, maybe not wanting to run out of time, but it is I just don't see the value in it. All right, he's going to move
Yeah.
his bishop out. Hmm.
These two just kind of dancing around each other right now. And as we mentioned the clock before, the clock ultimately might decide this thing because of such passive play, right?
Mhm.
Not a ton of, I mean, we see just a couple of just basic trades here and there, right? But so late in the game before the pawns are established or even getting out into that middle part of the board, right, Jake?
Yeah, and what's happening is basically a whole lot of nothing. No one's
Yep.
making a move. They're literally just like, what move is safe? What move do I not lose anything on? And there's a term in chess. It's called simplification.
Yep.
Simplify the board, right? You have so many pieces. You have to look out for so many different squares. Simplify the board, right? Go, you know, start making those sacrifices. There it is. That's what you need. This the generator. I know what the generator wants him to do now. And this is exactly what I said to do is C3 to C4. Move that pawn up, force a trade. Once you trade, you are threatening the queen with your knight. The queen needs to move. It does not go for that trade. You can do it here too. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. This way, you actually get an option to take it with your pawn. Do not take it with your pawn. You must take that with your knight. You must take that with your knight. Move that knight out of position.
Hmm.
Um, he might want to take it with the pawn because he sees this bishop, but you want to sacrifice. When you are ahead 2 pieces, trades are always good. So that trade is good. Go ahead, take it. I would take it with the queen here. Give your
Yep.
queen a little bit of maneuverability, and then you can line up that rook. Decides not to do that. You can move that rook now over to the F1 square, then threatening that F7, and you can duel up with your queen and sometimes look for a checkmate there. Um, Jeez, where is he going to go here? I mean, E5 looks good. Um, Rook to F1 looks good.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Jake, look at the clock. That time advantage that Scolio had has completely evaporated. It's gone.
Yeah, there's about 20 seconds to his name here. He's wondering what to do. At this point, listen, you're low on time and you got a piece you have pieces advantage. Start simplifying. Start taking out. Now look at this. He can't take that pawn. He made a mistake. He moved his pawn up thinking he could take it. Now, oh, he's simplifying though, I guess. So he can
Yep.
take rook. He can trade. Oh my goodness. The generator hated that move.
Yep.
Um, and it's going to be because of take. Didn't like that as much. Pawn can take. Um, take this pawn, please take this pawn. F6. This is easy. Now you've gotten 2 pawns for the sake of 1. Oh, you can't. You're in check. You're in check. You're in check. You can't. I can't hear the sounds here. That's the one problem. Is on the desk. We can't hear the sounds
Oh,
in the
yes,
game.
because of the cue, the sound cue for check. Yep, of
And
course. And then
now,
we've got check again with the queen coming down.
and the queen's going to be able to pick up this pawn too. Off of this check. There's not much that they can do. So they're going to take the pawn. There we go. And now threaten the rook as well. Threatening the rook. Rook needs to move. Which is probably good for the sake of Scolio. Move the rook. Oh, he can also, instead of defend his rook by moving it, he can defend it by putting uh, uh, his opponent into check. At
Yeah.
this point, ooh, yeah, you got to move the rook. Oh my God, it thinks Black's wins right here. There's check, move. Should be able to check it again. That was the wrong place to put it in check. You wanted to move diagonally there, and you just lost your advantage. That is a bummer. You
Oof,
could have
yeah.
taken out all those pawns on the bottom side. Woo! That's checkmate. There we go.
Wow.
And Scolio takes it, even though Abdul had the
Woo!
checkmate he,
Yeah.
in his sights, but ends up taking it out. Game 1 is done. Congratulations, Scolio. You take out
Yes.
Abdul, and you advance to the next round.
Amazing, amazing stuff. Great work out of Scolio. Obviously playing the long game there, and you said it right. There was a potential. There was an opportunity for an aggressive move for Black there, and Abdul could have had a checkmate, right, with a couple of quick moves. But when you're talking, there is less than 20 seconds left on the board, right? Everything is firing as far as your mentals. You are just like living in that moment and trying to make the moves as fast as you can. You don't get any, take backs. There's no redoing it, right?
No
And then
erases.
all of a sudden you are in that situation. Wow, great stuff. And GG's to both of these players playing in game number 1, folks. We're going to take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will be on to our second matchup. While we are on break, why don't you go ahead and follow MNVL on all social media, folks? We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Minnesota Varsity League Chess State Tournament. My name is Thunder McFadden, and I am joined by Jake the Dad. Jake, we had a pretty impressive game number one, and now we are on to game number two. It's going to be Matthew v. Max. We have the number 3 seed taking on the number 6 seed here in our state tournament. Your thoughts on this next matchup, my man?
Yeah, we have Totino Grace, a new school for us coming up, and they're going to be playing against St. John's Prep, one of the oldest schools in the Minnesota Varsity League, have been here since the start. Will
Hmm.
be exciting to check out this matchup. I haven't seen anything from Totino Grace's chess side yet, so we'll be interested in seeing how they play, what kind of openings that they like to go for. I would assume that SJP is going to be taking the white pieces. So, what kind of defense will we see coming out of Max? I am partial to the King's Indian. I love that defense. I think it's always super strong. I play that in almost every single game I have with black pieces. So if you're
Hmm.
gonna ever play against me, research the King's Indian. Um, that probably goes more towards the coaches in the league, like Ross or Charles.
There
Probably
you go.
possibly Rob, who maybe we can play some games of chess at some point. Um,
Love it.
yeah, so I'm excited to get into this. Um, let's since I have some time here, let's do some teases.
Ooh.
Not as many viewers for chess, so it's always nice to little tease. Thanks for showing up. We'll give you a little bit extra. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm not going to tell you what we're going to announce, but I'm going to tell you that there's going to be some announcements. Tomorrow,
Yes.
there's going to be a big Minecraft reveal right
Hmm.
after the state tournament for Minecraft. So be there. If you're a Minecraft player, you don't want to leave. You want to watch that state championship, and as soon as it's done, there will be a big reveal
Hmm.
that I am excited to show.
Can't
So
wait.
that is our Minecraft reveal. On early next week, we will be revealing our winter series. Our winter series is all of the competitions we have going on during the winter, and there are a couple big surprises in there. One of them being a brand new game for Minnesota Varsity League. Yeah,
Oh boy.
new game
Woo!
coming for spring season and winter. That you
Yay.
heard it here first. That's a leak. That's a leak,
That's
and
what I'm talking about.
Um, you'll also see some pretty neat stuff coming in for that. One of the tournaments I will leak is going to be our League of Legends Invitational. We do not
Ooh,
get to run seasons, but we get to do a tournament and an invitational. Looks like we're getting into the next game here, so
let's do it.
more announcements later. All right, we got
Love it.
Matthew on the white side, Max possibly on the black. Their names do not add up. So I see P Funk plays. Isn't that who we just watched or no?
No.
Production? No.
P Funk
Is Max
is
the black pieces? Okay. So we got Totino Grace Max in the black pieces, SJP Matthew in white. Looks like looks like we'll get an early castle. Most they know their openings pretty well. They got done with their openings while I was still trying to figure out who they were.
yeah,
Um got a
and they're
pretty
established.
yeah. Looks like he'll attack that knight there. Knight is protected. Sometimes people value. Ooh, and he's going for a trade right away, which opens up the file for the rook. The rook is going to be able to get out of there right away. I love doing that
Woo.
as a chess player. Now, those rooks are more important later in the game. They're
Mhm.
very susceptible to damage when there are a lot of pieces on board. But when there are not as many pieces on board, the rooks become super dangerous. That's why they're worth 5, while these other pieces are worth 3. Um, Knights and bishops are more mid-game pieces. Rooks are really important in the end game when you're trying to finish that out and solidify it. I wonder what side. What do you think here, Matt? Look how even this board is. What side do you think SJP is going to be castling on? Will he castle the short route or the long route?
Oh man, it is the long route. I was going to guess the short route. I will be honest. I was going to guess the short route because I see those knights over there. I see the movement of the board that direction and I like it a little bit more, but castle's the left side. Which again, not what I thought he was going to do, but you have enough pieces over there that I don't think you worry too much if you are the side of Matthew from SJP right now.
But this is an interesting play and something that like top tier chess players might even consider. So he's going to protect his bishop, but right there, what you could do is do a 2 pawn for bishop trade, which is by points bad, but While you do that, you establish and control the center. So you trade one pawn for center control, and top tier chess players like Magnus Carlsen will almost always do that. They
Mhm.
really value that center control, especially the pawn structure.
Yeah.
So I almost would have liked that to see that trade, but opts to be more safe. There is a lot of pieces developed on the side of SJP, but they're not in really damaging or good areas. That knight can go nowhere. Knight on D2. The knight on F3 can also go nowhere other than the poor position of H4. Um,
Right.
I almost like maybe moving your rook out. Oh, and he will move his knight there. It is offering a trade, knight for knight. Um, but then if he offers that trade, he's then of course attacking the knight on f6 for Tino Grace. But that's an easy move out. So this is
Mhm.
basically just a simplification here. Will you trade with me? If you better trade with him, because if he doesn't, he's going to just take that knight and attack the queen.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
Yeah, at this point, either trade or retreat, right? Trade or get out of there. You have to. Because well, there you go. All right.
moves the queen out.
Establishing a little bit of a challenge. Like, okay, you want to trade? Why don't we trade my way?
Yeah, he wants to protect his knight without having to put it into a disadvantageous position.
Yeah.
Um, right now we have a really kind of stalemate structure. If you play checkers, you're looking at this and saying, "Oh man, all these are bumped up against each other. How do I take?" We'll go for the trade there. Simplify it. Simplify the board. Um, I think at this point you kind of have to bust up this middle pawn structure. So I like a B3 move for the side of SJP. It busts up that middle pawn, disconnects the pawns in the center. It's just a simple trade. It does expose your king. Your king on that back line is in a very precarious position right now because if they're able to somehow infiltrate the back line, he's got no place to go. So then you start having to cover it with your other pieces, which you never want to cover your king with a queen because then you end up losing your queen.
Right.
Um, where
Yeah. Got to be
I
very
go ahead.
strategic about your defense and I mean, obviously, what you're willing to trade, what you're willing to get rid of to protect that king. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah. So yeah, I like and the computer does too. I like Tatina Grace's position right here. He's got a
Hmm.
lot of openings, but nothing like nothing showing in development yet. Is going to try to move the bishop out for SJP. Repositions the queen on the side of Tino Grace. I wonder what he is thinking about here. Looking to attack that diagonal, perhaps, but you're not going to do that with a queen and lose it to a pawn. And here we go. This is the type of aggressive moves I like to see. Break up that pawn structure. Look at that nice line of pawns from f7 all the way to c4, and if he can get in there with his pawn and break up that pawn structure, and he basically at this point has to take this trade. If you don't
Hmm.
take this trade, right, you don't have that option of just moving your pawn forward one, and not engaging in any kind of combat.
Right.
Um, but he does have the stronger, like, he has a choice here if he does not take it. Yep, he's gonna load up that square. So loading up that square means he's got three pieces pointing at that square, as opposed to the one on the side of SJP. And he's gonna go ahead and take this. Now he's got the option. What does he want to take with? I say you take it with the bishop, because then you threaten that other bishop. We'll go ahead and take it with the knight. That's fine too.
Hmm.
Because then you can threaten the rook, and that's G2 pawn. Although the G2 pawn is pretty useless at this point, being pinned behind the G3 pawn. Hmm. Considering the moves, looking at the time, looks like Tino Grace is a little disadvantaged on the time. We'll go
Hmm.
ahead and take that. Or no, we are still waiting on SJP's move. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're
Um,
good. I'm noticing, but your comment about the time, Jake, reminds me of that game number one that we cast. Right, that game seemed to kind of just like slowly ramp up, and then all of a sudden the action was really, really tense at the very end. and in the last 20 seconds. Whereas this game, right, these two players coming up very, very strong and
There's the
very,
right
very
play.
quick from the get go, and then the game slowing its pace here as these two try to figure each other out.
That's a really good play by Totino Grace. Now he's got to decide where he's going to take it with. You're either going to take away some of your defenses or you're going to open up a line to your king. Now that king has no really strong pawn structure on either corner to try to protect itself. Um, what could be done here is you notice there is a very precarious B diagonal B file. Start you see the queen on white side
Yep.
being able to access that king and the light squared bishop on the side of SJP still alive. It is not in any kind of danger yet, but if we can double up those pieces and try to take that advantage and pin that king, it's checkmate if he can do that. I mean
Yeah.
like it's not open yet. And wouldn't be open for at least 3 setup moves, but it's sitting there
Hmm.
ready to launch. But he's going to be defending his pieces so much that it's going to be tough for him to do that. Puts that knight into a wonderful position. Can't be taken without sacrificing the queen. Looking on both sides of the king's escape. But he doesn't have another attacking piece with him just yet. Um,
Yeah.
but also does open up a trade of bishops. Does not want to take that trade. Is going to go up here and sacrifice a pawn for looks to be it's not really a sack. He's going to try to trade that pawn for the knight. We'll go ahead and take a trade of bishops for himself. I think that's smart. You're tied up, but um, you have more pieces in play. It's anybody's game right now. Actually, it's anybody's game.
Yeah,
The
certainly.
generator
Because
thinks so.
you have on the side of Matthew, right, attacking from this white side, you still have your queen getting on that diagonal, but right, your bishop for the backup on that diagonal, trying to get into that corner on the king is no longer there. So, thinking about positioning, you got to start getting these castles into some sort of position where they can make effective lineups for when you move your queen in there, right? Queen
Yeah.
and knight, that is.
Yeah, I think it's time to start bringing out the rooks on the side of Totino Grace. We'll double up these pawns to attack the knight. Um, yeah, he's got a really good, strong attack on this king side here. Um, SJP has got to play this very carefully. I don't see an immediate way out of this. I think maybe do you take and then take no, because you sacrifice your knight then and potentially put your queen in a position that it cannot. No, take. But you're still so you could do a straight up trade here. Decides not to do that. He's gonna now probably move this pawn down, attack the queen. Queen will have to move. Well, because queen could then take the side of Tino Grace's knight. I sometimes am just thinking every move out loud, and then I'm
Yeah,
seeing where my follies are. It's important in chess to be able to take a look and read the whole board state.
yeah.
But
Yep, because of so much going on, and obviously, plenty of our viewers right now are very, very used to chess, play a lot of chess. There are some who don't. Go ahead, Jake. What are you seeing?
I see a good setup on how SJP can get checkmate. He needs to lure this pawn in. So I feel like you move the G3 pawn up 2 spaces to G5. It takes 2 turns to do that. And then you're threatening this H file pawn. If the pawn takes, it's checkmate because he can just move the queen into the uh, into a position. It's close to checkmate. You'll end up not necessarily getting it, but you'll get a really good position because you can move the queen, king one position. But still, very good situation for him. But he's got to be careful because he's got this queen and knight right next to him. Um, Ooh, he
Ooh, there
sees
you
that,
go.
thinks it's okay, but look at what it can take it with him, right? It looks like
Yeah,
a rook and horse for one rook. He's trying to threaten the queen while protecting it with his horse, or knight, but Totino Grace's knight can just take this rook.
Yeah.
take the rook, then he sacrifice. Oh, still has it protected with the queen as well, though.
Yeah.
Huh. Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is an interesting position.
Backing out a little bit. I thought we were going to see action there. I thought we were going to see both knights go down and that castle with both of the queens coming out on top. That just seemed kind of like the natural progression there in the middle of the board, but no, it seems as though Max is going to get out of the situation at least for the minute.
Man, when the generator shows an advantage like this, it's usually one or two moves away from victory. So I'm trying to figure out where this victory is. I see what he wants to do right now, though. He's moving this knight out of the way. He's going to take the sacrifice. Queen is going to move down to the A1, put him in check. No, he's not. He's going to take the pawn instead and do a fork here. This is a guaranteed. Well, at this point, you just move your rook because go ahead, take my knight. Trade queens with you. I like so he had a rook there. What he could have done is gone on down the diagonal A file,
Yep,
put the king in check. King has to move up, or you protect it with your queen, which is another option, and you can take a trade of queens. But if the king
sure.
moves up, then you literally go across the board and take that rook,
Hmm.
and you're just in a giant lead. You're already up 3 pieces on if you're uh, Totino right now. Um, he's going to try to advance his pawn. Can't take that with the queen. The rook will damage it. I think you move your rook over to the D file right now. You take that E8 rook, move it to the D file, threaten the back line of SJP even more. He is in trouble. He's in
Yeah.
trouble. Yep. You can
Well, because
can't
these
take anything yet.
castles, as you said, as you were mentioning, moving castle E8 to D8. I mean, even simple moves like that, right? When you have C8, which I was not expecting, but both of these castles are very, very dangerous over along this side because your king can't move very fast. And so you're lining them up, you're getting them ready for that final attack. I think what Max is putting together here is looking really pretty fantastic. And Max the
Edge.
sixth seed,
Yeah.
again, playing against the three seeds. So
Gonna threaten this rook. Rook is not in a lot of trouble, can just move out of the way. I almost like it going to C6 just to threaten it back, and also fork the pawn. A fork for anybody watching is when you have one piece that's threatening 2 pieces of your opponent, and obviously in that case, right, your opponent can only move one, and you end up getting a win. Forks, I mean a one piece.
yep.
Forks are great to look out for. They're one of the strongest moves in chess. Although Totino in a better position, down 2 minutes. How will that affect it?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
He's gotta
yeah,
figure out,
yeah.
"Oh my god," and he blunders his rook, but he goes for the queen trade,
Oh boy.
and all of a
Oh
sudden, the
boy.
blundered rook, and look at that generator just fly in the opposite direction.
Woo!
They both have some pass pawns here. This is gonna be a pawn battle. Who can play this correctly to try to get their, pawn to the back rank of their opponent first? The generator likes the position of SJP.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. He's
Here
going to
goes
protect
Matthew.
that. Has to protect it. Um, in this case, I think you move your king up 1 square. If you're Totino Grace, you got to think fast.
Yeah, for sure.
SJP just has to just hold on. They got 2 minutes and 56 seconds. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
this could be
obscene. Almost 3 full minutes here, and you've got Max at 40 seconds. Sheesh.
that move doesn't do a whole lot for SJP. Here can spur a lot of trades. Oh my God. Move it forward one. No, it's
Woo.
over. I don't think he can do it anymore. I think that's good. Hmm.
In a game that started so quickly and then was just moved so slow through the body of it. Now, both of these players, well, especially Max, whew, gotta move quick.
Mhm.
You gotta move quick. When they start showing the tenths of the seconds, that's trouble.
Yeah, white is in a prime position here. Can put Black piece in check. Checking. You can only go into one location. Yep. This is over. Rook to d7. Knight. King must move back into the a8 position. Same difference, sort of. Now you pop
Yeah.
that pawn forward. It's basically the same. Now, yeah, you needed to do the rook move, but still, you're looking at a. You got to be careful. Don't stalemate here.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh my god. Gonna take that, and then he's at a rook advantage. Can he close this out? Should be able to.
Yeah.
He's just got to do time at this point.
Right.
Just
Right.
don't stalemate him. Just don't stalemate him. Don't make it so that this king cannot move. He's just gonna move kings around, literally, and just say, "Hey, you're gonna lose on 0.7 seconds," and that will be the win for
Boom.
SJP. Wow.
There you
He
have
came
it.
back. The generator had him at a 90%, and Totino could not find that finish. Could
Yep.
not find it. I found a couple areas for them to both finish, and they both did not see it. Must have been some pressure of the state tournament.
Yeah, certainly that, partially the stream, so many things going on, but obviously, right, in the game of chess, even some of the most seasoned players are going to miss some things here and there. And when the game starts moving fast again, right, all of a sudden things get overlooked so quickly and you can't go back, right? It is what it is. So great work out of both of these players, but it is Matthew out of SJP taking the dub here in our second game of Minnesota Varsity League's chess state tournament. Folks, thank you all for being here. If you have friends who are fans of chess, why don't you tell them to come on down? Join us. We've got a bunch of chess action going on for the rest of the morning and early afternoon, and then later on tonight it's Rocket League. What a weekend for us here at MNVL, folks. We will be back after a very short break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Minnesota Varsity League State Tournament. It is chess today. My name is Thunder McFadden, and I am joined by Jake the Dad. Jake, the action is heating up here. We've had a couple of really great games so far on the stream. And coming up, we are now into the semifinals, which means best of three. Okay? If you drop one board, then obviously you're not out. You have another opportunity, so you will need to win twice against your opponent moving forward. So that is
Mhm.
exciting, but you also have some other exciting news that you were going to drop here having to do with some of these stores and stores for merch, things like that for these schools.
Yeah, we've already did the announcement, and but I wanted to give a little bit of information for anybody who, we just kind of have the text out there. So, I wanted to give some background information about these school stores. This is something I've been working on for about 8 months now, stretching back to about March, when I started looking for merch vendors, and was able to build out and slowly develop some relationships and deals to the point where now we have this great deal. It ended up being a little bit later than usual, but we have a wonderful Minnesotan company that called Wholesale Imprints, and every school gets their own school esports store. Now, the information around this is number one, there's no risk. It is absolutely free. You want to set it up, you just got to fill out the form I send out to your coach. Absolutely free. And frankly, if you don't like it, just let the store sit there, right? There's no risk in doing this. If you want to set
Mm-hmm.
up the store, great. But if you don't want to end up using it later, you don't have to. It's not You're not obligated.
Mm-hmm.
So you set up your store. You can make. You may have seen our jersey. You can custom make your jersey with your own logo on the front for your school. You can have your own two colors, whatever colors you want. SLP is going to have the orange and black. Hill
Mm-hmm.
Murray could have white and green. You can customize your T-shirt, your sweatshirt, uh, joggers, and even a hat. Um, so you get all those things for your school so you can rep your school, which is cool. But also the really important thing is that 15% of your sales are going to go directly back to your school in fundraising. So you can
Mm-hmm.
use that on whatever you'd like, whether it's travel expenses for future in-person games, should those ever be available to us again. Maybe you want to just throw a pizza party for your club. Maybe you want
Mm-hmm.
to help out those less fortunate students who can't afford their you know own merchandise or their own jersey or
Mm-hmm.
their league fees. Hopefully, hopefully very soon all leagues will be free for MNVL. We're trying very hard to make that free for everybody, and working with sponsors to try to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we try to keep our fees minimum and be cheaper than every other league that exists. But uh, this was a um, really important deal to me. In fact, one of the most important that I've ever done, just because
Mm-hmm.
there is no funding for esports just yet. Most schools
Mm-hmm.
don't even have funding for their coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the first time that there was universal fundraising opportunity, something that wasn't just available to one school who wins a grant or wins some lottery or some nice scholarship that they might have gotten. This
Mm-hmm.
is something that any school can do for absolutely free.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, what I love about it on top of it, is it gives vocational skills as well. It allows for some design. So we're doing a design competition at St. Louis Park on who gets to design the jersey. We're
Yeah.
also going to be doing, it gives you some sales experience should you want to go out and try to sell these items to your friends, family, whatever, whoever wants to support you and wear your jersey, kind of like you would for any other sport. So,
Mm-hmm.
looks like we're going to get into this next game, but I just wanted to talk about that store initiative. Sign up. You have until February to sign up and get your store. Um, Stores launch for the school in February and they stay
Mm-hmm.
open for each of our major seasons, and then they close at the end of the season. And we send a big check for 15% of your sales at the end of that season to your program. So,
Mm-hmm.
looks like we're going to jump into this next game, but I just wanted to really talk about that initiative. It is a big deal for us at Minnesota Varsity League. We're always trying to make things better for you. Looks like we're mid game. But to finish my thought, we're always, every single season, trying to do something that we think is going to support our programs. Our biggest request from coaches was fundraising. That's the biggest issue in esports right now. Anybody can play, but funds are where it just doesn't exist yet. So we're
Mhm.
trying to tackle that with one avenue. We're going to continue to try to tackle that for you as we go. And then there's some very large other leak stuff that I'm not going to leak, but I'm going to leak that we're
Mhm.
working on it. Other big initiatives that our coaches have asked for. Um,
Mhm.
and know that when our coaches ask for something or our players ask for something, we try to make and get that done for you. So
Mhm.
I have several initiatives I'm working on and trying to have ready for spring. And as soon as the state tournament is done, those are the number one priority. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for those. But we're getting into it.
Do
We
it.
have uh, Donda, who is our number one seed, going against
Mhm.
the top player from Hill Murray and Hill Murray Henry.
Yeah.
Donda in the white and Henry in the black pieces.
Is that right? Or is Donda Danny Lewis? Yes.
Oh,
So
so
Donda,
Donda
yes.
opted for the
Donda,
black pieces first.
yes.
Wow. Okay, I was wrong. I just assumed the home team would opt for the white pieces, but Danny likes to play that second position. Right now, pieces are even. They will go for a pawn trade and a castle for the side of Hill Murray. I like Hill Murray's positioning right now. I really like it. But then again, Donda has some pretty neat structure. The only problem with Donda's structure is this bishop on B7, literally trapped three ways. I mean, you have to move three times
Yeah.
for that to be have any kind of impact. Um, Going to move the queen up. Also, not a big fan of this move. Where's that queen going to go? Right. I feel like he's going to do this so he can get the castle in. But at the
Mhm.
same time, he's moving that queen into a position that can't go diagonal down either file, can't go forward, can't go sideways. Pretty much just trapped in there. Where you see
Yeah.
the pieces of Hilmer Henry, a lot more area to move. So there's positives and negatives on both of these positions.
Yeah, yeah, and you mentioned it there, right? That queen moving up into that mess of stuff that Donda has right there in the middle. I mean, it feels almost like instead of moving things aside in the fridge so that you can fit something in there in the right spot, it feels like just taking the jug and shoving it in there and whatever's on the shelf just like, kind of just like well, slides out the way and you've got things spilling everywhere. That's how kind of jumbled and how tight it feels in the middle of this board right now if you are the side of Donda.
I really like the developing of pieces for Henry, though. We'll go for the quick
Mhm.
trade. That is actually pretty good for Donda because it frees up that queen to actually get into a position where it might be able to do some damage, threatening that H2 piece. You're going to have to get another piece that threatens that. A nice easy one would be knight to G4. You go knight to G4, and then you can move your queen into that diagonal and put that king in basically close to checkmate if you can somehow get the knight off of the F3 position. Um, if you can do those three things, you got yourself a checkmate. Now, how to do that is the tricky part. Um, there are, and if you move that knight, you got some good fork opportunities. So really, I would be focusing. How do I get this knight out of this F3 position if I am Donda trying to get Henry to move
Yeah.
that?
I
Um,
like that pawn move out of Donda. I do because we've talked about that. We've talked about that bishop that is so trapped, B7, right? Now has a little back route exit out and can get off to the side over to your FGH lanes if you need, right? So for the side of Donda, as he is formulating this attack, I like that you're giving a little bit more space there, getting those pawns up and out of the way.
Yeah, and when you can focus a good amount of pieces to attack one area. So if he can move that bishop back, it's looking like, he could potentially in two or three moves have at least three pieces attacking the king side of the board, which
Yeah.
is not the best defended currently, just because of how trapped the queen is. The knights have some good defense there, but um, you know, very strongly defended if you're attacking from the left side of the king. But if you can somehow get into that H2 position, all you need to do is get the knight out of there in F3, and that king is very much exposed if you can get it on down that H file. We'll go for the castle. Castle's to the weak side of his board. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Castle's to where there's some pawn protection, but no other significant pieces. Just basically two strong pieces defending that side. Whereas most of his strength is on the left side or the ABCD file of the
Yeah.
board.
You know, I question it a little bit too, Jake, moving to the weak side as opposed to moving to the strong side. But if you look right here, and what I'm seeing is okay, when you move it to the weak side, how is that advantageous to you? Well, if you're looking at white pieces don't have a good diagonal to get in right now, right? And both of those castles are buried in there behind the queen and behind a couple of other pieces. So your king has got some time. May not have the very very strong protection like you would castling to the other side. However, you've got space and you got time over there as opposed to
Mm.
protection is which is what you have on the other side. So sacrificing the protection, allowing that protection to move out.
He moves. But the thing is, the pawn that he moved there, I didn't see that E5 pawn is now blocking his queen's advance. I was talking about trying to get that knight out of there, and actually, what happens is Henry decides to move it on his own, which is going to open up a lot of. I mean, I see why he's doing it. He's looking to open up his queen, be able to move the queen out, and then free up a rook to attack this center pawn on the E5 square. But if he can move that E5 square pawn up, he can force his opponent to do some trades and potentially move his knight down. See that knight also, that's another very strong position. He's got a pretty significant fork here. You can fork this queen and the pawn, and the pawn would be safe unless the queen, of course, the queen goes to D2. But I want the queen at D2 at that point, right? You're just putting your queen in a can't move position.
Yeah.
Um, so I like that. I think I mean, you possibly can move your pawn forward here and look at a knight to G4, like I was mentioning before, and then a queen to H2. And that would be essentially checkmate. I mean, it would be check and then one move into checkmate.
Mhm.
Um, or no, yeah, one move into checkmate because that knight is covering the E2 square. Um, so let me see. Does that actually work? Does he move that down? Take
You're talking
knight. He would
E5
have
to
one.
E4 on the pawn has to get out of the way before you
Yeah.
can make these moves, but then you're talking about taking the queen down and the knight to attack in that corner?
Yeah, so what would end up happening is there would be you could do a large catalyst of trades, or you could use that as a distraction, try to move your knight in, um, and then go for that position. I almost say move your knight in now. Hopefully he's not listening to the broadcast. Move the knight in
Uh,
now and um, uh,
well,
then
he'll
try
hear
to
your
get him in
advice
that
in
trap.
3 full minutes if he is listening, so we know that.
Then again, these players are stronger chess players than myself. I'm a big chess puzzles guy. I'm
Yep.
1600 in chess puzzles, but probably about 1100 in chess itself. So I'm not the best chess player, but I do my puzzles most days.
Well, hey,
Um,
you're better off than me, I play Halo, so.
Hey man, when you got a 5-month old, you got to play games you can quit right away. And
There it
chess
is.
puzzles is good. I've been on
Yep.
the Fallout 4 again because I can quit that. I'm sick of getting lever penalties in League of Legends
Of
because
course, yeah.
Arcane comes out. I want to play League of Legends because I
Yep,
love Arcane, and all of a
and then
sudden,
all of a
look, he
sudden
does do it.
ooh!
He moves the knight there. This is what I was telling you about. So unless he defends this, he says, "Okay, I'm safe right now." But
Mhm.
this pawn moving forward, oh, he stops it. But it doesn't stop it because now what move do they love? I think the generator wants to see. I don't think that. Maybe that's the move. Can't take
Yeah,
with the
because
queen.
'cause
Yeah,
protected.
yeah, protected.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice, now the
protected.
queen just gotta get in the mix.
Queen can't get in the mix. It's going to get taken out by the rook. Um, but still, large time lead for Henry right now. But Donda's looking good. He's probably looking to take this rook on the D1 square. Um, how you get out of this position is very interesting. Um, Another issue that could occur. So he's going to move that out of the way, which just kind of puts it out of the way, right? Doesn't really put it into any good positioning.
Yeah.
Do you now start a bloodbath in the center by moving one of these pawns forward? He's going to attack this knight, which is also a pretty solid move. Does this knight have an escape? He's got one escape. No, it doesn't. Um, yeah, this knight does not have an escape. See you later, knight. You're dead. Now, how you are dead is
Is gonna
entirely up
depend.
to you. Yeah. Yeah, you
Where do
don't
you wanna
want to
where do you
be
wanna go to say goodbye?
yeah, you don't want to go to F3 or H3 because then you're dead in check. At least in this way, you're dead and you can at least try to bust up and get a pawn for it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm. So, right, you take with this pawn here, right? There's no question. It's
Yeah, I
just
don't
a
see why you
knight for
would
a
move
pawn.
the I don't see why you would move the knight out of position just to move it back in, right? You're looking good on everything there. I think it's gotta be the pawn, and then you trade, and
And then you can
then
free up your queen to do some shenanigans too if you move that knight on d4,
mhm.
because that pawn is now out of the way. Also, you got the rook covering it on b7. So yeah, I mean, you take with this. You take with this every time because then it frees up that rook if he ends up trying to take that. Oh my goodness. But then again, Donda, he's the number one seed for a reason. He probably is he's thinking in multiple dimensions, making sure he doesn't want to throw away this win. Because
Yeah.
look, he's doing a good think right now. This is
Yeah.
he's doing a good think. I appreciate you guys watching state championship Minnesota chess when the world
Yeah.
championship is going on right now. Hopefully you've been checking out some Magnus Carlsen games. The goat, absolutely unstoppable chess phenom, goes for the double up. I don't. And you just lose your knight? Am I wrong? What am I not seeing here?
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
you're not gonna trade. He ends up taking the pawn, puts him in check. Literally can't stop that check. Or you can, yeah, take it with the rook. Take it with your bishop. And then he just does the instant trade.
Uh-huh.
He pre-moved. He pre-moved for that trade, puts the queen in some jeopardy. Yeah, that might have been that was don't want to say that that was a blunder, but I feel like it was a huge blunder to not take the knight with your pawn there. You take the
Yeah.
knight with your pawn, you end up opening up your queen and your bishop. Instead, you just get a trade. Oh, he did not like that.
No.
Where are we going here? I think where we're going is maybe queen to h. Queen there. Oh, yep, you got a fork now. All right, that's the move that they were looking for. You see, he's gonna fork the knight on b6 and the knight on e4. So now this queen has a safe take on both. Not necessarily, I guess, because that pawn is there, but can do. Oh, and the rook. So I guess this is not a true fork. What the fork is going on here?
Perfectly put, Master Shake. Yeah, you mentioned how surprised you were. I will mention how surprised I am that all that knight action didn't happen in the middle of the board.
Does
Now
opt for
things
a check fork, triple fork. Going to take the queen here. Queen is
Oof.
down.
Woo!
And actually, Safe doesn't decide to go for the trade and take it with the knight. This knight, just take that other knight. Now you just simplify, right? You're up a queen. Trade, 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 trade. Don't just keep trading. Take the knight. King takes the knight. Then you take the other knight on b6, and
Yep.
boom, boom, boom. That's not even a trade. That's a beneficial. That's a beneficial trade. That's a
Yep.
move. At this point, Donda just needs to make sure he's moving. Um, yeah, you take with the king here. I don't think you take with the pawn. Um, you don't want to. You want those pawns to stay together, or you can't take with the king, right? Because it's in check. So I think you take with the pawn, but he decides to not do that and move backwards.
Yeah.
So he's going to
Yeah,
lose his
for
knight
some
here.
reason.
So he loses his knight. He's down 12 pieces. This is probably GG. Still not taking that knight with the pawn. Doesn't want to get that piece for free. Still not taking that knight with the pawn. Am I
Mm,
missing something? Am I like crazy? Like don't know what I'm talking about in chess? All right, he did it with a rook. Okay.
maybe just waiting for that moment, to be honest, to get the rook out of there.
But I
But
mean, there's
even still,
when
it
the
did
generator
seem,
does this, it's checkmate, right? Or
yeah,
something.
yeah, it really seemed like that was just the basic move was to take that, use the pawn, right? Why not use the pawn to take the knight in that situation?
Yeah. It's gonna offer a trade. Why would you not take this if you're the side of Donda? All right, you're gonna go for the check. That's fine. Take the trade, man. Take the trade. Boom,
Yep,
boom, check. Doubled up. GG's. Anytime now. This king is in trouble.
yep,
He's gotten,
yep,
and you're
big
looking at
time
a,
trouble.
yeah, rook versus a rook queen. You are down a queen, basically. That is the +9 that you're seeing.
Hmm.
Phenomenal fork by that knight placement earlier on. The only thing that Donda does have to look out for is he's got to finish in time. And if I'm Hill Mary Henry right now, I'm looking how can I burn this time over on Donda and stay alive.
Hmm.
Um, I think, hmm, don't see a lot of ways out of this. I think you need to start moving your pawns so you can just free up some space um,
Yep.
for King. Let's see what happens. What would happen if he goes to B4? It'd be take take. That's it, and
Yeah,
then maybe
take,
some
and then you're just face to face again with those pawns, right? You're not actually
take
like
take.
really giving yourself much of any space. Same thing on the D file, same thing on the C file.
Oh, he's going to pin. Well, he's got to move the queen, king. I don't think he's going to go for this rook. Take. There we go. Doubles him up. Still semi doubled up. Um, and that's it.
There it is.
GG.
Boom.
Donda takes game one. Remember, this is a best of three, so he's
Yeah.
only taking game one. We'll have to see what they can do for game two, how they manipulate. Will Henry, since he's got side choice, will he stay with white pieces or will he go to the disadvantaged black pieces? I
Yeah.
mean, it's only disadvantage when you don't know how to play. And they're right into it. We're not
Let's get
wasting any
after it.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In this best of three, we are not taking breaks right here. We are just going straight into it. I love it. I love it because right now, I mean, we are in the semifinals, Jake. So the action as far as chess is just heating up, right? It's just continuing to heat up. And this, we're seeing how quickly these players are getting out and getting after it, establishing their position on the board, right? Doing it quickly, and then using that middle part of the game to think, using that middle part of their 10 minutes to play slow and figure things out before the end, right? Great stuff out of both these players.
And yep, Donda's in white this time.
Perfect.
Henry's in black. Henry one move away from doing my favorite opener, the King's Indian, and instead decides to put that knight into the E7 square instead of that F6 square. I like it in the F6 square. I'm just a big fan of that positioning. It really hurts the diagonal, but then again, Donda has a really strong defense against the King's Indian with this 1-2-3 or frankly 2-3-4 pawn structure across B2, C3, D4. He's going to not opt for this trade. He's going to move it up, threaten the knight on E6. The knight will move out of, get out of there. Um, and he's got three pieces attacking the square. You notice this is the advantageous position for Donda because he's got four actually now that I'm seeing it pieces attacking the F5 square. We're to the only three or four. Ah, wait a second. One, two, three, one, two, three. He's got the knight, bishop, and pawn all attacking that square. Well, yeah, Donda has pawn, knight, rook, and then a follow-up bishop, depending if the pawn takes it. So there's a lot of things protecting that square. I think you just bust this up, bust it up, kill that pawn in the G6, sacrifice it for your F5 pawn, and bust up that king's defense. and all of a
Yeah.
sudden that's an open lane, straight to the king, and that queen might even be able to just sneak in there at some point. Do a little sneaky slither right in there.
Yeah, sneaky moves, just rolling right in. You said it. Yeah, I completely agree. If you're over on this side, you definitely want to bust up what's going on the F and the G file, right? And open up a lane to the king. We've castled, but I mean, kings are castled both on the same exact side. So, I mean, both of these players have a similar trajectory that they have to navigate to get all the way over and across, angled across the board and formulate an attack. So
Let's see,
we shall see.
Chat, would you do this? Um, would you sacrifice your knight to take the 2 pawns protecting the king? That's an interesting thought. I mean, you go down
Yeah,
a
right.
significant piece. It's actually a knight and a pawn for 2 pawns. But while you do that, look at this wall. You see rook, pawn, bishop. There's a wall on that side of the king, and the only thing protecting the other side are these 2 pawns. You pop this pawn in. If he doesn't sack it, then you just move your if he takes it back with the pawn, you just move your knight out of the way, and it's a pawn for pawn, and you busted up his defense. But if he just takes your knight, which is a safe take with his bishop right now, you take that next pawn, put him in check, force him to take your pawn, or move the king over, which you wouldn't do. Um, and now it's in that open file, spank open, and you can get a check fork. Oh my goodness, do you see this?
Mhm.
Okay, so let me explain what I'm looking at. I'm looking at F5 takes G6.
Yep.
Then if he takes with the pawn, you just move the knight, whatever.
Knight's in, but the knight's gonna go to that pawn, to the
But
second
if
pawn
the
that's there.
no, yeah, potentially, yeah, you could take with the knight as well, double threaten. Um, but if you can open up that file, and if he ends up taking with the bishop, if he ends up doing that, you can fork the king and bishop. Obviously, the king has to move, and then um, the bishop gets taken. I don't think they'll fall into that though, because it's avoidable. I think that's avoidable. So never mind. Um, yeah. Um, I got really excited there, but this is a long
Yes.
think for Donda. He's getting a 3 minute disadvantage. You see that as Henry, and you might just say, "Screw it! I'm just trying to win on time. I'm not taking any trades. I'm not taking any trades. You're gonna have to slowly take me out because you are 3 minutes, almost getting to 4 minutes down.
Yeah.
Long think by Donda.
Yeah, really, really long. And figuring out, as you said, as we've been talking about, okay, in this move, are you gonna go ahead and start what will inevitably be busting up that entire defense on the FGH files over there? Okay. Do you do that, or are you going to spend your time repositioning what is back deep on your own side on your ABC files, right? There's a lot of players over there. I mean, you've got A1, B1, C1, D1, big pieces, all buried in that corner. When are you going to make moves with that, right? When are you going to get your bishop out and start holding some of your diagonals, right?
Yeah, you got
We'll see.
nothing. You got nothing developed right now. What you could do also if you're Donda is move. Is he like disconnected? Like, why is he taking 3 minutes on this move?
Good
When
question.
there's just the simple question is like, or a simple answer is, you don't know what to do. Just start developing, right?
Yep.
Develop your pieces. You got this left side, 4 pieces doing nothing. Um, you could potentially move the bishop and attack the rook and do a two bishop or two piece for one trade. It's not the greatest, but you do take away that rook if you think your opponent values it a lot. It's 5 minutes down at this
Yeah.
point. Is
And just
Donut
not moving.
DC'd? Huh? Doesn't look like a DC. He's literally just thinking this long. We're
Yeah.
saying from production. Um, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're Henry, just play safe from now on. You got 5 minutes.
Yep.
Make Donda beat you. You got 5 minutes on him. This is a incredible time advantage, and
Wow,
it's still
yeah.
ticking down for this move.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
got to be something going on here.
yeah, at some point you gotta commit.
I mean, even just moving this pawn up in the B file to attack the knight so that if the bishop takes your knight, you're gonna trade it back with the knight on the other side of the board. This is the longest think in a 10-minute game I've ever seen in the state championship.
Yeah, most certainly. Most certainly. Huh.
Hmm.
And you do wonder though, right? I mean, it is there some sort of issues or something going on here? Like you okay, all right. There it
All right,
is.
yeah, we just got word from our production that he's literally just thinking.
Yep.
This is a long, long think.
At 6 minutes, Jake, I think it's reasonable for us as casters to be like, are we good? Is everybody good? Are we
Yeah.
do we check everybody good? Everybody good? Right? I mean, wow. And the time's still ticking away.
If we
Donda,
don't go
just
to a
like,
game 3, then Henry is completely thrown because he has got almost he hasn't even used a minute yet, and Donda is over here using almost the entirety of his time.
yeah.
I mean, he's used 4 minutes on this move or more than 4 minutes on this
On
move.
this single move has used at least 5 minutes.
If this sticks
Because
down to
five,
2 minutes, it's over. Like, it doesn't matter what your move is at this point. It's over.
yeah.
If Donda pulls out this win, I'm going to get out of my chair and bow down
Yep.
because this is an insurmountable time lead. And all Henry needs to do is just move your pawns, play the game, slowly develop,
Yep.
defend, defend. If I was him, I would just load up every single piece I could to defend my king and just be like, yo, you can't take it at this point.
Yeah, right.
You can't take it.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Move. You're
Either
stressing me out, Donda. Let's
hey,
go. Like you
listen,
can do this. I know you can
this
do this. You're such a good player.
yeah, this could be one this really could be one of two things. This is a very, very, very deep, like, okay, I'm trying to figure out every single move that I am going to make. Otherwise, I just kind of don't know what's going on. Or on the other side, it could be like the ultimate flex. I'm going to go down to under a minute. I
Oh,
know
mid
exactly
game.
what every single move that I'm going to make, and then I'm just going to make them quick. Right. But still, even if you're doing that, right, you're down to a minute, man. This is like one
Yeah.
of the most exciting
This
games of
is
chess that we've cast,
this
and
is
nothing's
not even
happening.
like mid game. This is early game. Not a single piece has been taken yet. How are you thinking? Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is
I'm worried.
he's down to less than a minute. Production said they've talked to him and he's just thinking.
Huh.
But GG. This is game over. Good game. Let's go to game 3. I mean, you're not going to win with 40 seconds and your opponent's got 9 minutes. You're just
Right.
not. You're literally going to lose on time. Not a single piece has been taken. Maybe if you had set up a win,
Hmm.
but this is really weird.
Yeah.
This is really weird.
Very strange that yeah, that you wouldn't just end up
Yeah, he
moving at
must be
least something.
conceding. He must be conceding.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is over. Yeah, it's done. Good game. Good game, Henry. You win.
Mhm.
Hmm. That is I mean, to put things in skater terms, this is pretty lame.
Yeah. Hey, it
This
is what it is,
this is a bummer, man. This is a bummer. Let me check. I'm getting Discord notification. Maybe something's popping up here. Huh.
Mhm.
Huh. Well,
Well, we know we're
GG Henry. Henry wins. Good game.
there it is. Yeah.
That's it.
Strange. Strange, strange,
Strange.
strange. And I'm interested to see what the circumstances are surrounding that and to
It,
see if we're going to go directly into uh go into a game 3 right away or what do we have going on here?
I'm thinking as hard as I can possibly think. And something
Yeah.
tells me using 9 minutes on a move and just losing isn't the right play to do.
Yeah, or I mean, or if you're Donda in that position and you just don't see any way, you see everything that's coming. I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. Huh.
Oh, what?
Oh,
Oh,
oh. So we got kicked out.
Oh, wow. We just missed a lot of the game. So apparently for everybody, um,
Aha!
chess.com had an issue and we just weren't seeing anything happen other than the time tick. And these moves
Oh.
have happened.
Yep,
I don't know what's going on. Let's check the pieces. It looks like Henry is up by 2 and is
yep,
still has a 4-minute lead. So
yes.
still very much favored for Henry in both pieces and time. We missed what happened, but
But
it
we're here
looks
now.
like yes, we are here
Donda didn't
now.
just exhaust the time. It didn't it wasn't that. So we're good.
Wow, that's weird.
Very strange, huh? I don't know how
The
we got
chat,
kicked from the
yeah.
game.
Sorry, chat. That
Hilarious.
was a chess.com error.
Huh.
So we're in the game still. What an interesting. I like how we were just puzzled to all hell. We're just like,
Yeah,
what
right? Just spending 10
what's
minutes trying to
the
figure out what's going on.
dealio? All right,
Oh,
it is Donda's
hilarious.
move here. Can't imagine he's gonna opt for this trade of bishops. At this point, he's gonna have to move something. And ooh, the generator did not like that. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. Henry has such a time advantage here. Even though we were talking and there's an error, still the time advantage is absurd. It's just not as absurd as we thought it was. Um, so let's see. Okay. It's tough when you jump forward and you can't see the board state. Um, you may be looking for some sort of okay. Opens up and looking for a sacrifice trade. Trades back in and out. Will lose the
Uh-huh.
pawn in that trade. I knew that he had a disadvantaged trade here there, and I was wondering what he was going to attempt to do with it. Can switch out and take this pawn now. Does go ahead and take the pawn on the c3 with his bishop. Now threatening the rook. Rook will move over and line up rooks, which could be pretty dangerous. Um, what was that move?
Yeah.
So what he can do here is take with his rook. Then the rook, if he decides to, what? Why wouldn't you just take with that rook? Move your rook over, take the bishop, trade rooks, then you trade and take it with your queen, and you go up a rook, or you go up a bishop, and then he just sacks queens. Queen sack, which is good for Henry. He's got all the time in the world. Sack the
Hmm.
queen, you're good. All right, you can go back and take this knight. Knight is dead. Boom. Bye bye. Still threatening the rook on the side of Donda. This is done for Donda. Congrats, Hill Murray, Henry. I can't see any way that Donda wins this. Um, you know,
Yeah.
the thinking, that was tough. There's the check. Moves his king forward, gets him out of check, loses the rook. Rook is freely taken, and he will go ahead and concede. And we are
That's
going to
that.
game three. Game
Game number
three.
3 it
Sorry
is.
for all that, y'all.
For the
Sometimes
confusion, yeah.
chess.com will do that. I'm reading the chat right now, and they're saying, "Oh my goodness!" I tell my casters, "Don't read chat," and here I am. Here I am.
It's
I'm
all
not a
good.
professional caster, though. I'm
Technically you're the director and you're hanging out with me. Technically, you're not even a caster. You're just the resident chess expert here at MNVL doing a guest
expert.
star experience for everyone.
I'm the resident guy who knows how to play chess and has played more than one game. You know.
Yes, exactly, you are, which is amazing for us here at MNVL. We love you for it.
Probably gonna go to that D spot. Already gonna put out his knight first. Interesting start by Donda. I don't know this opening. I do not know this opening. I weird opening on both sides. Even Henry is a weird
Yeah.
position. I don't think I've ever seen the bishop in A2 on move like 4.
Yeah.
Chess is such a weird and interesting game. Like it
It
looks so
is.
straightforward, but you can have positions that have never occurred in chess before, just based on the sheer amount of Like some people pay 50,000 games and they'll be like, yeah, I'm in a position I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, of course.
let's see.
Crazy craziness. But game number 3, hey, this is super exciting. Super exciting. And hopefully we don't have any sort of, time issue like we did last time. Um,
Ooh,
but man, this exciting stuff for our chess players.
Donda looking good now. All the development from the side of Henry in the first moves is gone. He's got none of that development anymore. He now develops his bishop, gets it out of there, but his knight is gonzo. He's probably going to move his knight to d2 when he can. Will do that. Try to find a way to get his pieces out of this precarious position where they are essentially useless, trapped behind the line of pawns. We'll go for the castle on the king side. Both players opting for the king side castle. Both, um, well, Henry with the stronger center pawn, but not very advanced in his pawn movement. Donda or Danny is looking like he has got a stronger development of his stronger pieces. Although the bishop is a little bit locked down, not because of the knight, but more locked down because of um, this diagonal of light squared pawns. It's got really strong light squared pawns for the side of Henry, which usually means you can probably go for a light squared bishop trade. Um, but right now, the only trade available to him is a pawn, so you're not taking that. Donda will move his knight forward, trying to attack a couple of the squares in the center. Nothing doing yet, but will be a good setup for later. Also frees up his bishop on the light square diagonal. We'll go for the trade. Knight for bishop
Not so bad.
and attacks. Oh, and he gets a fork of the rook
Ooh.
and queen. Ooh. Now do you no, you don't do this. You don't take the rook yet. Yes, you take that fork, and now you have a safe fork. You either take the queen
Yep.
and sack, which anytime, or you take this rook for it's still sack. It's still sack. The queen's gonna take it. But now the
Yep.
queen's stuck in that corner too. Goes up a rook.
Exactly.
Really strong play by Danny to find that. Wow,
Yeah.
what a wonderful play. And all of a sudden, he's got the advantage. All he's got to do now is start taking trades. Start taking those trades. You got a rook up in the end game. If I say, hey, I got a rook up, I'm smashing these pawns, right?
Yep.
Every time you can trade a pawn, you trade it. Trade it,
Yeah.
trade it, trade it. When the pawns are gone, the rooks, ooh, they run free. Then that's what he's doing. He's saying,
Yep.
let's slap these pawns together, man.
Why
Woo,
not? And that move, you said it right, that big trade down here in the
take
bottom
it.
right corner of the board. Huge, huge stuff.
I think you take that and offer the sacrifice. That's not doing anything. Now you're losing your advantage. I thought it's too bad we can't go back in time. Um,
Mm,
it's still all right though. Like he's got this queen threatening uh a, this long file. Um, let's see. Where's the next play is going to be? Doesn't have the best. This this is can he threaten something? Yes, he can. Oh my goodness. Did I just miss something important? What did I just miss? I thought I missed something important
uh-uh.
because he moved his rook up there. But I saw his knight could have gone to B6, and his rook his bishop was threatening the queen, and his knight was threatening the rook, and he could have done a knight for rook trade. He's gonna move the queen out of the way. Now he does it, but now he's not threatening the queen anymore, and the queen is just gonna take this. This is just a straight up blunder. Yeah, he just blundered that
Mhm.
knight. If he did that one move earlier, it was a phenomenal play, but he did it one move late, and
Biting
it
him.
ended up doing nothing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
right?
was a straight up blunder. And now he's doubling up this rook and king. The rook is gone. Can't move it. See you later, rook. Bye. And is dead. And at this point, Henry should probably just concede, but it's state championship. Play it out. See what you
Yep.
can do. I would concede if this was a regular chess match, but not quite yet. We'll go for the
No.
trades. That's all you got to do. Trade. He's got another fork here on the king and bishop. Bishop gets taken, and it's all but over. Um, Moves the queen over. Not doing
Yeah.
a whole lot.
Whew.
Still pretty trapped.
What a game number 3 out of Donda.
Yep. Do you trap the king into coming even closer? No, you can do that move too. I was like, you can move up one of your pawns to put the king in check and make him try to go up on it. I think, yeah, you move that right there. You could have done one more, but you threaten en passant, but that's not that big a deal because you just trade positions anyways.
Right.
Um, which you're likely going to do here. I mean, the proper play I think is just to still trade these pawns because you're going to lose this pawn regardless. And now you just trapped your king even more. Lose his pawn. Happy to take it. If he doesn't trade, he's just going to take it again. And Donda will be moving on to the finals here. I'm going to call it. I hate to call things early, but that's about it.
Yeah, most
Henry
certainly.
played really well though.
Yeah, Henry did play great. Played great, kept it even really, but now, I mean, at this juncture, Donda such an advantage as far as just everything right now, right?
It's two
Number of
move
pieces,
checkmate.
everything.
There it is. Yeah, I'm like, please see this checkmate. So there's that. Moves it forward. Technically, you can defend this by moving the G pawn to G4 and gives your king one escape. But no, this is checkmate, right? No, 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 because you can then trade queens. But even trading queens is great in this situation. Just do it. Yeah, trade queens. But bam, that was the wrong spot for your rook to go. He probably that was might have been a misclick. Oh no, he's taking out the back line.
Yeah, there you go. Cruising through all the pawns, why not? It's a
Now he's just
great
got to be
thing for a
careful. There's
castle to
no
do.
stalemate here. Oh, he stalemates. What are you kidding?
What
Oh,
on
I can't
earth?
yell. I can't yell. I'm not supposed to yell. My baby's sleeping.
Oh
Oh my God.
no!
What a blunder
We've
by
got a
Donda.
stalemate. Oh
Oh my God. He had
no!
6 minutes to avoid that stalemate, and he stalemates.
Ah!
We have to go to another game. We
Yeah,
go
we
to another
do.
game.
We
How
do.
does he win?
Wow on
Oh
earth.
my God,
How?
Donda.
How? Wowza. Man,
That
okay, this
hurts.
is crazy. We are going to a game number 4 in a best of 3, which we have never done in MNVL. Absolute craziness. And that's that. Donda was ahead the whole time. The
Ellie was
whole
like,
time. But dude goes through trading out those queens too quickly and loses sight of the end game. Donda
Ellie,
had it.
clip that. Clip that, Ellie. She was wondering. I was like, I'll do a safe word. Ellie, that was bananas. We
Yes.
were talking in the pre-room thing, like, what's the word we're gonna use when you want to clip something that's crazy in chess? How Henry just pulled off
Oh.
that draw was in. You have 6 minutes and you have
Yeah.
a 12-piece lead. He
Woo.
only has the king alive. All you have to do is avoid a
Ah,
stalemate,
yeah.
and he gets it. What
Crazy.
happened there? Why?
Absolute craziness. Wow, wow, wow. And we are on to game
I'm
number
not even
4 in
looking
this
at this
best of
game.
3, folks.
I
That
can't even
is
think about
nuts.
this game. Why think about
Woo!
this? Oh my goodness.
Wow. A stalemate in game number 3. And this is only the semifinals, folks. This is only the semifinals. What?
Jesus.
Wow.
I see Ross in the chat saying never concede, and we're on a 3-minute delay, and he's gonna be right for saying
He's
never
gonna be right.
concede.
He's gonna be right. Yeah, you cast you cast or
Oh,
cursed the
mm,
game
oh,
and made a prediction on a winner, and then there was no winner.
oh my gosh.
Hilarious.
What has happened? I don't even know what's happening in this game. Right now it's 2-pawn 2. Let's take a look at the development. It looks like Henry's got a really nice development here. With the two knights stacked like that, typically you can get some interesting plays and taking out the back line of a pawn and then the front line. Um, Obviously, his pawns are tripled up, so he's going to try to break them up a little bit more with this play. I think you just take this if you're Donda because you have the same amount of pieces looking at the square. You can just basically do a big old trade and take control of the center.
Yeah.
But already center pawns are missing. Center's going to get blown up this game. And oh, he goes for this play. I think you just take. pins the knight to the queen, thinks that's a good move, but it's not. The generator really likes Donda here. Um,
Well, because is Donda gonna take a not anymore. I was like, is Donda gonna take a free knight off of Henry? But no, now the castle's in to protect.
yeah, but you can just take it with the bishop. Maybe not.
True, but you're still trading. You're still
Yeah, you're
trading.
still
I
trading.
was seeing prior to that the queen coming in and just taking the horse and just riding it out of there.
Let's see. Check, take. Oh no, you take with the pawn here, I think, and then he takes with the bishop. You trade. It gets traded again.
Hmm.
Then you put him in check. Then he takes with the rook. I don't know. There could be a bloodbath, or there could just be nothing.
Yeah, who knows? Or or Donda could end up thinking about the move for a full 5 minutes. Who knows? Anything could happen here at Minnesota Varsity League State Chess, folks. Anything could happen.
Look at this chat. They're just seeing it. Oh, they're blowing up. That's wonderful. Uh, and he's like, nah. Oh my gosh. All right, that was probably. I
Awesome.
don't know if we're gonna beat that excitement. That was one of the most exciting things.
Sounds
Actually,
ridiculous. I love it.
Noah, our state champion from last year, had just as an exciting moment where he forced a draw where he should have lost and ended up winning the entire state tournament after that.
Yep.
So let's see, can Henry do the same? Can Henry pull a Noah here and just end up winning the whole thing? Um, there's a lot of pressure in the middle or center of this map. Um, the generator loves Donda, but really in this case, you don't see what all the generator is thinking. Um, sh- oh my goodness, I see what you do. I see. Check out this cheeky play. Rook to takes bishop on f6, right? Looks like a bad play because you're trading a rook for a bishop. Knight then moves, takes rook on f6, and then your bishop on e4 then can take knight on c6 and fork both rooks.
Ooh,
So that is a giant play that could happen.
I like that. I do like that.
I don't know if you'll see it because the start of this play is to sacrifice your rook or to trade your rook disadvantageously.
Right.
Now he could then end up taking it with the queen, which is another potential. But if he takes it with the queen, right? Um. Oh, okay. He blocks the move by doing that. If he took it with the queen, then you end up taking the rook. Trade in the end a check on the d5 square, which is like a three-way trade. So he ends up taking it there. He sees the move I'm talking about. If he ends up taking this with his knight, well, then he loses a rook as well. So it ends up being actually an even trade, I believe. It will be an even trade now when it was going to be a knight up
Hmm.
um, and a rook for a bishop trade. So much better for the sake of Donda, but he missed it by one move. He did one move prior to that that basically disallowed it from
Hmm.
occurring. He is going to go what? Oh, he's going for. Oh, he sacked and got the queen. Wait, that was all pre-moved. So he ended up sacking his rook and bishop for a queen.
Hmm. And a
Interesting.
check comes in.
Check comes in. We'll likely move it to the left side where it's more protected. We'll do
Hmm.
so. Still anybody's game, but Donda looking really strong. He's got that queen advantage.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, has to go ahead and sacrifice there. Doesn't want to lose his rook for nothing, or lose his knight for nothing. So we'll do the sacrifice here. Don't love that. Um, Donda doesn't opt for to continue the trades. I think you do. I think you just keep trading because I think queen rook beats rook any day.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally agree.
All right, now you got a good. Oh, you don't have necessarily a fork here. Never mind. I thought you did, um, with the pawn and king, but the rook is protecting it. I think you can bring your rook though up and put the king in check because that is so f7 puts king in check, can't be taken, and then then you could take out the h7 pawn, but decides not to go for that. Um, yeah, that could have potentially been devastating for the side of Henry. Then again, maybe they're seeing something I'm not. He's going to go over here and take the pawn. I think that's a blunder because he just loses his knight. No, he doesn't. He can take it with the queen. My bad. Protecting that
Uh-huh.
knight with the queen. Saved a queen. So we
Save the
have,
queen.
yeah, 2 rooks and a knight versus a rook, knight, queen. So it's basically a rook for a knight right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I see a check. He can get in, but then he's not protecting his knight anymore. Um, hmm. I think you move the pawn up potentially. All right, put him in a nice little check here. See where he ends up moving. This is an interesting game. Time is even. Dona's got the piece advantage. It's gonna be some sort of miracle move for Henry to come out with this one. But then again, last time we saw the biggest miracle move ever. So,
Yep. Yep. Took us to game 4, so pretty crazy, all things considered. Pretty crazy, this matchup. And again, folks, we are only in the semifinals. We have got games after this. Hoo-wee! What a day. What a day here at the state tournament.
okay, let's see. We have there pops a check, double check, so he can't take that knight. Keep in mind that rook is down there. Trades the knight for the rook, gigantically favorable trade. And I think now you just start picking off the pieces with your queen. Or you fork there. I was looking at that fork as well. Force the take into a retake. Takes the check, blunders the knight, blunders the oh, and there it is. Well, hold on.
Hold on.
Can Danny
Hold
take
the
this?
phone.
This is checkmate. Next move is checkmate. Good job. Well done, Donda.
There it is. There it is. And Donda will be advancing, folks, after a ridiculous semifinals best of 3 that went to 4 games. Donda will advance. GG's to both of these players. But man, what an effort out of Donda to take down Henry. Henry will go to your 3rd place match, and Donda will be going to the state finals. Big stuff. Big stuff here, folks, on Minnesota Varsity League State Tournament Saturday. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we will have another matchup for you. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Minnesota Varsity League State Tournament. It is Saturday, folks, and we are playing chess. My name is Thunder McFadden. I am joined by Jake the Dad. Jake, we have got our other semifinal matchup coming now. It is two SJP players, two of them from the same school, facing off against one another. It is going to be Matthew taking on Peter. And Peter, from what we understand, is also El Bloop from SJP's Rocket League
Phenom.
team. Now, I didn't know you could play chess on a controller, but SJP Peter, here to do it. I love it.
Yeah, man. El Bloop, actually, probably the most famous of all MNVL players at this point, given the kind of
Maybe.
TikToks that he's had.
Yeah, for real.
He's probably got a million views on on MNVL TikTok by himself.
Yeah,
Coming in and being a top tier semifinalist in another game. Um, Really talented. We actually missed one of our players today. So it give you an idea of rules. It is illegal to play in multiple teams for the same sport or esport
right.
in MNVL, but you can play is in many different esports as you'd like. You're just going to
Hmm.
stretch yourself thin. But Coach Getsky is in the chat today, and he has a player, Hill Murray Cade, who I believe made it to the state championship in 5 different esports. So he made it in chess, Valorant, Minecraft, Rocket League, and possibly um what am I missing? Possibly
Wow.
Super Smash Brothers. But
That's
he
crazy.
couldn't make Super Smash Brothers because he's also in a theater production this week as well. So the kid is super active. Like, what an
Oh,
amazing player! So he deserves a big shout out for having such a phenomenal player, Kate. If you're out there, props to you and your
yeah.
video game prowess. Maybe you focus on one game, you go pro, but who knows?
There you go.
Um,
I
and El
mean,
Bloop, awesome to have you.
yeah.
Love having you.
Wow.
Stand up kid too.
Yep, 100%, 100%. Big ups. Big ups there. Yeah, that is wild to play that many different sports and to be a gamer and an actor as well. Psh, stop. You're speaking my language right there. Nice work, Cade. That's
Yeah, you're
huge
doing
stuff.
both. You're doing both, and you literally have one half on each side of the caster desk right here. At least
Yeah,
in college. In college, I was the gamer and Fitz was the actor,
that's
or
right.
Thunder was the actor.
That's right. You keep using my real name, man.
I'm sorry. I've been
It's all
using
good.
it for 15 years.
It's all good. It's all good. At this point, I just tell people, "Hey, I got a real name, but I don't answer to it. So you just got to call me Thunder." That's what I tell people at my other jobs. Sorry.
Yep.
I know it's weird, but you just got to call me Thunder. If you call me anything else, I'm not going to answer. So it
Yep.
is what it is. But hey, love it, love it, love it. And again, we make that point there. We love to see players playing multiple different esports. We have had all kinds of different storylines in that way, right? We think about Nesbula, that player went from Call of Duty, went to Rocket League, right? I mean, that
First
and
seed in
making some
both.
pretty big moves.
First seed in both this season.
Yeah.
First seed in Rocket League, first seed in Call of Duty.
Isn't that crazy? Crazy,
Both controller
crazy.
games though, so
Yep.
he's got these are worked out.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amazing, amazing stuff. And that again, folks, just kind of generally, that is a good example of the type of thing that we have here at MNVL, right? We have an esport for everybody. We also have multiple esports
Soon.
for everybody. You know what?
Yeah.
You want to play chess and you want to play Call of Duty? Do it.
By the
Bang
way,
on. Get ready.
talk to your chess clubs at school, see if they want to join up, right? Chess needs to, we're seeing that's slowing down, so we want to get more
Yep.
and more people involved in chess. All right, we're getting into game here, but also keep a note. We have a saying here at MNVL. If there's enough schools that want us to run a game and we have enough teams for it, we'll run it for you, right? We need 8
That's right.
schools for a team game. We need 16 players for a solo game. So
Hmm.
chess, we had only 11 players this year. We need to get to 16 for spring. Um, uh, so hopefully we can get chess up there. Um, and continue to grow. There's going to be a lot more schools joining us in spring. I know of at least around 10 that are going to be onboarded by then, and hopefully some more in the state. There are some programs out there that are in esports that aren't in MNVL and are only competing with those other ones. And I like those one of those other ones, but I don't see any reason for the third one. Anyways, not to not to disparage. All leagues are cool. All things esports are great. Um, and we're jumping into this match here. So far, just some development. Going to try to pressure this queen. We'll have to retreat that queen. There's no way to advance it without it being taken. Um, so we'll have to retreat it there. Still a good place to retreat. Protects your pawn. That was a potential another fork. Should you have moved like the queen to an e3 or something like that. Develops the center a little bit more. Lines up those pawns. You'll see a little bit of a disconnect, but I would imagine an e3 pawn move relatively shortly so that the bishop can be moved and the king can castle properly to the king's side.
And you think that's the move? You think king side is for sure the move right here? I guess you
Well,
have a
obviously it's
knight.
not.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's we talked about that in another game earlier. You had asked me, "Hey, which side would I go to?" The player ended up choosing the opposite side of what I would. And right here, you see it. I mean, castling to that left side, or right, castling to the queen side rather. You you have the black knight already, two of them kind of encroaching there. Um, so either there's something that we're not seeing, or there's something that Peter has confidence in, that we didn't know about.
All right, coaches and players with cool dads, you'll appreciate why I laughed, and that's just hearing the words "the Black Knight." If you know the Black Knight from what I'm discussing, uh, uh, come on, keep fighting. You haven't got any arms. Yes, I have. Just
No!
a flesh wound.
Ah, just but a flesh wound.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, so
I
good.
require a shrubbery.
A shrubbery.
Oh, why do you
Monty
take there?
Python. Oh,
I guess you take there because then you have a more. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I see what's going on here. What happened? Oh no, our production went to a different tab.
yeah. Oh,
Hey, just so you know, the guy running the stream right now, you might know him. He's been on the casting desk many times. Maniac on the production. He is our
yeah.
production intern. Went from an unpaid casting intern last season. Now he's a paid production intern. Simply because of the amount of motivation. You know, you guys want some behind the scenes stuff here. Maniac is the kind of student that when here for casting was just eager to learn everything. Hey, can I try social media? Hey, can I try production? Hey, do you guys
Mhm.
need help with this? Do you need help with that? I just consistently wanting to learn and do more and more and more, and that's what you need in the esports industry. I'll tell you that much. And we're happy to keep him, happy
Yep.
to continue to develop him as an esports professional. And by the time he's out of high school, I think he's gonna. I mean, encourage him to go to continue his schooling. But you know,
Yeah.
uh, he's
Yeah.
gonna have some job skills. I'll say that
Yeah.
much.
Been doing nothing but fantastic work. And guess what? On top of that, Maniac started as a player in MNVL. Started as a
Mhm.
player, and now look at him. Absolute gangster. Love
And
it.
we
Love
see
it.
that out
Love
of
it.
all of
Yeah.
our interns too. Like,
Yeah.
look at how
Totally.
well Ellie is. Roopster Panda has been
Yep.
doing. Look how good Prog has been doing from
100%. Yo.
Matamidi. Um,
I mention this
Eric.
at the end of every single stream. I mention that I work with the best production staff and the best people on the planet, and I mean it. And so if you're not listening to me at the end of every stream, folks, get it in your head. I'll look right at you. Get it in your head. This is the best production staff that exists on the planet. No doubt.
E Eric from Minnetonka killed it on Thursday's Super Smash Brothers stream. Quam has been so good.
Yeah, dude.
And Skylar's or Blue Sky tomorrow on Minecraft is just going to dominate. Skylar coming from Washington Tech. So we
Hmm.
have student interns from all over our schools, and a lot of these rotate. So look out for spring. We're going to have some internships open. I mean, sometimes people take it for granted, but our caster interns, they work with the DOA. I mean, sometimes
Hmm.
people forget that like DOA was the head caster of the Overwatch League. DOA was the head caster of League of Legends Korea. He's the he cast Faker's first game. I mean, he is
Hmm.
on the Worlds highlight reel when they open up Worlds, and he's one of the last things because he has the most famous call in all of esports history. Um, and the dude is volunteering his time and working with our casting interns. What a phenomenal experience for them.
Yeah.
So we're actually probably the only casting internship of its kind
Hmm.
currently. So very excited. Please apply for that next season. Anybody can join. Would love to have you on as a casting intern. All right,
Absolutely.
we're into this
You
next
get to
game.
cast with me.
Yeah, you get to cast with Thunder. Ooh, this king is in a precarious situation. He's got enough defense for one defender, with that bishop protecting
Mhm.
that diagonal. But so wait, so Peter is SJP Peter, so SJP Peter is in the white, aka
Yep.
L Bloop. SJP Matthew is in the black. I would assume these two have scrimmed each other quite often and know exactly what they're going to be doing here. He does have to go for that trade, otherwise he's got a pretty dangerous line on that diagonal file um, that pins the knight to the rook. Um, Looking now just to develop and get his rook in a more advantageous position. Would guess that either Peter is going to be looking for some pawn action here, some trades. Um, could I mean I like this pawn trade, right? Like I love but he's just going to push it forward. That's just fine. The generator didn't like that as much. I just really like when you can get into that, H file against the opponent's king that's been castled. And when you
Yeah.
see that, you know, D3 bishop has got a good look at it, you can just get the queen in there and all of a sudden you're looking at checkmate. If you can get it in there successfully. Easier said than
Certainly.
done.
Certainly, but I mean, as we know, right, the diagonals, that's where a lot of your surprise attack comes from, right? That's so often where you can hide little moves if you're crafty, right? If you're
And
really,
look at
really
this.
extra crafty.
Matthew actually has a genius move here. He goes to that center pawn position. If he takes, he breaks up all the center pawns for SJP Peter, and Peter has a terrible pawn structure. Terrible. If he takes this middle one, I still think it's a good move. I still think it's a good move. It's not as terrible because
Mhm.
he can take with the C3 pawn and then non continue with holding the center. Whoa. There is now a move that exists that basically wins Peter the game. Because the generator has moved so far over. I'm trying to find
Mhm.
it. That might be it. He attacks it. He's going to attack this bishop. Um, huh.
Yeah,
To allow the
strange.
sack? Hmm.
Are you The other bishop is gone. So do you I mean at this point do you retreat and leave the pawns there kind of spread across like that? I mean, hmm. Black Queen isn't coming in for that pawn. We know that because the knight is there on the protection. Interesting.
Yeah, there's some moves here that look really nice for white. I think the move for white here might just be to bust up these pawns on the right and just take the trade. Right. I told you about this last game is like, do you do you trade a bishop for taking away all the king's defense, all the king's horses and all the king's men? And I think you do. And he goes for it. He busts up that king's defense. Look at those are now disjointed pawns. They can
Mhm.
become jointed once again. They can unite us, unite the clans. He
Yeah.
will move the knight over, and look at this. He avoids the sacrifice, and now he can do his own trade if he'd like. I
Yeah.
think he does. Um, hmm?
Hmm. Very, very slow pace to this game. Peter
Because he can
taking
take
his
this.
time.
Yeah,
Matthew taking his time.
it looks like Matthew has this open bishop right now. He can trade for a pawn. Yeah, and he does, which seems like the right move. I think maybe you move the rook up to h7, take the pawn, and then you just slide it over and take the other pawn because the rook is protected by your knight in those cases, and you just bust up the back line and you just take this pawn whenever he decides to move it forward. It's a potential. Ends up being not super even, but you take away all the king's defenses and you take up your back line pawn support.
Yeah.
Or you can do that, same Same difference. You just don't have a follow-up move after it. Because if you did it with the rook, your follow-up is you just go across and take that other pawn.
Yeah, 100%. And you could kind of make a box move over and then back, right?
Yeah,
Or just kick it over, take that other pawn, and then just take your same route back
because you're
down the H
protected.
file.
Because if he takes the pawn, if he moves his f7 pawn forward, then you just take it with your e6 pawn, and you still have good center control. And he's
Yeah.
got these stacked pawns. Yeah. So right now, Peter looking really strong. Um, the one thing he's got to be careful of avoiding is Matthew's queen has still got a pretty good look at his king. If he can get to that B2 square and be covered by potentially this one of these rooks, that's checkmate. So that is the one like be really careful scenario that he's got to look for. He does
Hmm.
remove that pesky pawn out of there, get him out of my swimming pool, and put him somewhere safe at the edge of the board. And we'll move the horse
Oof.
forward and the knight forward, and it looks like the generator is completely smitten with Peter at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
they're about to go on vacation together at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Just ready to watch Peter just finish this thing up.
yeah, he's ready for Peter to bloop this king right out of there. I didn't do it right. Shoot,
Oh, it was close. Though. I
it
liked
was
it.
close. That is
I thought it was good.
we attempted the pun. That's an attempted pun.
You attempted it,
Do we
you
have a
did it, you committed
production?
to it.
Production? Do we have an attempted pun graphic?
Attempted pun.
Production's telling me no.
Nope, we do not have a graphic for the attempted. It would be great though. A little stamp that comes on the screen. Doosh.
Psh,
Hey, there you go.
kablamoy. Looking at time, time is looking in favor of Matthew. Position is in favor of Peter. Peter's going for a good think here. After Matthew just frees up his knight or gets it to a relatively safer position. Relative, you know, is the key word. I think a big issue with Matthew this entire game is this C8 bishop that is completely trapped
Yeah.
and his A8 rook, which is completely trapped. They're both just completely trapped. They can't do anything. And they literally can't get out of this position without several moves.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and you
2 to
also
3
notice
moves to free people up.
and you also notice almost all but two pieces or three pieces of Peter's pieces are on. Oh my God, oh no, there's not a devastating mood. Um, are on dark squares, making this light square bishop even more useless. So even if he does get out, what is he gonna do? Not
Mhm.
much. He's just gonna ping pong around the map, touching nothing. So really smart play by Peter. I'm wondering if that's intentional. I would assume it is. Um, can get the check here. Does go for the check. It seems like a blunder, but it's not because the queen has also got check, so he cannot take that. He has to move the king. Must move the king.
Mhm. Where
And
to though?
yeah, we're actually even on pieces right now, believe it or not. The generator just loves the position a lot better.
Mhm.
Check, and this is a fork. We'll take the rook now. Why he's wasting any of his seconds not taking this rook is beyond me. There he goes. Oh, he's determining which rook to take. Does he take it
Yes.
with the queen or does he take with the now he's gonna lose the other rook. Go ahead and take that with the queen.
Nope.
Is there a reason why he didn't do that? Take the
Uh,
rook. There you go. Oh, because the king was there. No, that didn't do anything.
huh.
Huh.
I think we maybe missed one move in there.
I mean, I
Because it
guess
seemed like
this
a free night. It seemed like a free night for Matthew.
does does free rook, you mean free castle.
Yeah,
Um
my bad, my bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pins the knight. Knight cannot move now. Now potentially could move. Dude, I almost think you just sacrifice it. Why not? You're so far ahead on pieces at this point. That like exchange just put you so far ahead on pieces
Mhm.
by taking those rooks in that fork that you can just he's doing this and says take it with my queen king. with your king, so I can take your bishop for free. Or oh no, you can't take a bishop for free, but you could take all the other pieces. Dude, just take them. Yep. Yep. Go ahead and take that rook. Nope. Never mind. Doesn't want it.
Under a
All right.
minute for Peter. Under a
There it
minute.
is. And he
And there it is,
finds
the
it.
dub.
Peter gets the checkmate. I missed it. I was looking at some other pieces. Great job, Peter. L Bloop takes game number one. Absolutely fantastic. We're probably going to jump into game number two right away. But
Looking
we'll
like it.
see. We'll see how will they change their openings. What will we see in this coming?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I expect, and these two teammates, right? These two players, right? They play together very frequently. They are teammates, all of that. I would expect, based on what I saw in that first game, I would expect this second game to happen maybe even a little bit faster, right? I think that because they are now established after they've gotten their first game out of the way, right? They've felt each other out through that entire thing, right? And they played very slow and very patiently with each other. I think that now there's a combination of factors that are going to lead them to play with a little bit more speed.
Hmm. Well, I think I think it's very interesting too. I wonder if how much these two players have scrimmed against each other, being from the same team, and
Right.
whether or not they're trying to give the other one a look they haven't seen before. If they've done any kind of preparation coming into this, trying to figure out what openers they want to go with. And if I'm there, I think the number one thing is to make your opponent uncomfortable when they're in a pretty comfortable matchup, knowing who they've played against before.
Hmm.
Um, I'd have to look at the bracket, but I'm pretty sure I know Peter is the higher seed, but I'm not sure if they've done a head-to-head before. I could check that pretty quickly.
Hmm. Well, again, at the very least, being from the same school, definitely know each other, definitely have played together before. So that familiarity, and we've talked about that in multiple different esports, that familiarity with the folks that you're playing against can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? We're creating a new lobby here for the players, and as soon as they start playing, we will be on the board. So hang tight with us, folks. Thank you for being here. If you're not already following MNVL on social media, why don't you handle that for us? Okay, grab your favorite social media and follow MNVL, and then after that, go on to your least favorite social media, like the one you barely ever use, but you have it because you got like old friends on that social media. You know what I'm talking about. You know the one. We all have it. We all have
MySpace.
it. That's it. Yeah, you said it. All right. So why don't you go on that one too? And follow MNVL as
Yeah.
well, just in case. Just in case you
Follow
end
me
up
on
there and you really need to
MySpace.
know. Ah,
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where you can find all the important MNVL news
talk about
is on
MySpace.
MNVL MySpace.
Do we have a
Um,
Zanga?
I don't even know what that is.
Dude,
I'm glad I'm
get
dating
out of here.
myself too.
Yep.
Will we see the King's Indian? It looks like it. Yes, we will. Oh, yes, SJP Peter L. Bloop going with the King's Indian defense on black side. Incredibly uh, uh, fun position. I love this. The reason I love this position is because of that sneaky bishop on that corner line. Um, so when you castle, you end up having that. You end up with this knight bishop and sometime later, usually not for another 10 moves later, you can move that knight to attack something, and they've forgotten about that sneaky bishop.
Yep.
Is that a mistake? He made a mechanical error. He was supposed to castle that, but he
And he
moved the
just moved the
castle,
king
moved
over
king
one
over
instead.
one. That was a mechanics issue.
Uh
That's
oh.
like when my mouse bugs out. He's got to be pissed about or oh, mad about that. I don't think that's a
Yeah.
bad word. I think I'm okay.
No, it's not. You're fine. But I mean,
I-
who knows? Who knows? This may be some giant big brain play that we know nothing about,
no,
Master
it's
Shake. We are yet
it's
to
not good.
see.
It's not good because you need that. The reason why this position is great is because you develop your rook so early.
Hmm.
Because the rook then moves over on the other side of the castle. Now that rook is legit trapped there for 20 moves. I mean, like lots of moves. Maybe 20 is hyperbole, but um, I think that was clearly a mechanical error.
Hmm.
in chess, which shouldn't have mechanical errors. Wow. I
Well,
wonder
as
if
we said, this Rocket League player probably on either a PS4 controller or something like that. I mean, there could be some input issues. We never know.
yeah, let's 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 hope it doesn't cost him the match here.
Oof,
We'll go for the trade.
not so bad.
Trades out knights and will bring out his knight, trying to develop a little bit more. I always, for you that are learning chess, there's three. There's a good strategy. You don't go by it always, but there's like a. It's called your threat levels, and it's always nice to think in threat levels. So it's check, attack, and develop, right? In that
Hmm.
order. So if you can look for checks, if the checks are safe, usually it's good to check your opponent. Then to attack. So attacking your opponent, trying to take a piece or put your position into taking piece or develop. And if you develop is get your high value pieces out into a situation where they can actually move, where they can actually um, affect other positions on the board. Like for example, this bishop now in C1 literally affects zero positions on the board, right? The A2 rook affects only two positions on the board, B1 and A2. I mean the A1 rook. So like developing, get them out of those positions so that they can actually, um, uh, what I would say is red off some squares, which means those squares are red. There is a piece looking at them.
Yep,
Um, so if you can't check, then look for an attack. If you can't attack, then look for a develop. And
I
on
like
defense, you look
that.
for those threats too. Look for the potential checks, look for the potential attacks, and then think about where your opponent might develop. It works in both ways.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? So far, I was wrong in my prediction. I was thinking that this thing was going to be a little more fast paced, but no, they are playing very slow, very strategic, feeling each other out, feeling sussing out the situation, right? Um, and I like it. Obviously, these two very talented players, and we are in the semifinals, folks. So this is whoever wins, they're going to the big show.
Hmm. We'll go for a sacrifice or a trade here. I like this trade because it breaks up the center pawns while doing it for Peter. I'm seeing. Um, I gotta stop looking at chat. That is a bad thing for me to do. Um, will move his king into an interesting position. Very protected here, though. I've never seen this king kind of protected on the side file like this. Maybe that was not a mechanical error for that castle. I think it might have been, but maybe it wasn't. um, also, a pretty dangerous position for the king of Matthew. Not very well guarded here. Only two pawns in an open H file is a little bit dangerous looking. It scares me.
Scares you a little bit.
Oh yeah, spooky.
Very spooky. Yeah, you said it. It has
Mm.
taken a ton of time to get that H8 castle anywhere. So now finally a lane to get out and do something, but you got pawns and you got bishops in the way.
Yeah, you're gonna line it up. You're gonna line it up with the pawn that is
Yeah.
blocking it. So there's whoa,
Oof.
that's close to check. I mean, yeah, they really like Peter's move here because Peter now can go to H1, put the king in check and force it out of that back line. Once he puts that in check, he can then or no, there's checkmate in two moves.
Uh-oh.
Okay, can you see it?
Tell me where.
Maybe not in two moves. There's check. He moves it up. Then the bishop comes down. Nope, never mind. Takes the pawn instead. Bishop could go to B5 and continue to put the king in check, causing it to move further and further away from protecting its pieces. I
The
think.
generator loves Peter's chances right here. I
Yep.
think
So that was looking
positioning
for that
speed. There you
move.
go. Little
There's a
check.
free check to get that king somewhere. The only spots are D1 and D2. Those are the only positions the king can move in. He's not going to protect it with his queen. He will protect it with the bishop. We'll go for the trade,
Mm-hmm.
pushing
And a
that
decent
queen.
trade at that.
Should be able to take this pawn for free now with the bishop on G2 or G7. See if he'll opt for that. That it would be a free pawn. Decides to not go for it. Maybe he wants it later. I think you should have taken that potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially. Maybe wants to values protecting his king a little bit more. Still leaves the pawn open for free. Will he pick it up here? I'm sorry, I'm moving like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, does go
Yeah.
ahead and take it. All right. And now the pawns are completely busted up on the side of Matthew. Peter with a four-piece lead could even go into some disadvantageous. Um, Matthew, you there? Oh no, never mind. I'm dumb.
Peter's move
That
right
rook
now.
is that rook is protected. I thought that rook was blundered, but it is protected by the rook on the other side.
Yes, 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 yes.
Took me a moment to see that. I don't have a smooth and silky voice like our man Thunder here.
Ah,
I need to hit the water a little bit.
you
My voice.
sound great though. You sound absolutely beautiful talking chess here, Master Shake. Looking
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
indeed.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, many times.
Yeah,
Oh
when
yeah.
I'm at the country club, we've always played good old game of chess. It takes us 40 to 50 minutes, and we'll
Yes,
have a nice
yes.
chat about world politics and
Ah!
the economies of Eastern
Certainly.
Spain.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
All right, that's
exactly.
protected. Woo!
Oh boy.
Matthew moves the generator a little bit. That is protected.
Yep.
King will have to move out of the way, but it's still looking like a good matchup for Peter.
Mm-hmm.
I see somebody in the chat um, promoting a competitor league, but maybe they, instead of going to check them out, maybe they should come check out MNVL. Do they put on as cool productions? Will they give you gigantic trophies like this? Will they let you interact with other pro esports? I mean, Hikaru plays for TSM. Um, you know, there's plenty of there's 100 Thieves, the sisters. I forget who the sisters' names are, who are really good at chess. Play for 100 Thieves. Um, so chess is moving into mainstream. Oh, who is that production? Botez sisters. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching the videos where they go to New York and just hustle these old guys at chess. They're these young sisters who just dominate. They're so good.
That's so sick. I love it.
hmm And you just see these videos of these like grandmaster chess hustlers basically just being like, "Are you guys the devil? Like, how did you
Ah!
figure this out?"
Yeah, right? That is funny. That is funny. I've always been fascinated. I had there was a guy that I went to college with, and he would play. He told this story about when he and his brother were kids, and they would play chess in their heads on family road trips and stuff. No board, no nothing. They would just play chess in their heads against each other while they were in the backseat of the car. And I was like, "What?
What?
Wow, sheesh.
What?
Okay, nice.
That's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that is
grew up
absolutely
playing
wild."
I grew up getting shellacked by my dad over and over and over. I don't think my dad could hold a candle to me now. He's too
Ah,
busy with cribbage. That's his e-sport.
there
He
you
wakes
go.
up every morning and plays online cribbage.
Nice.
I'm like, Dad, you're an online gamer. And he's like, What?
No, I'm not. Yes,
Yeah.
you are. Yes, you are.
My dad's the old man now. All
Boy.
right, let's get back into this game. We're seeing a rook pulling the rook back, trying to take a look at this pretty open bishop here. Bishop's going to have to retreat to somewhere. Looks like a really nice square there on g5. to put that rook back into a little bit of his own trouble. But that is actually fine. I think the rook is going to take a look at maybe the g4 square next for Matthew, just to say, Queen, get the heck out of here. Um, that is a dangerous looking queen. Oh, wait, does Peter not see this move? G1. So G1 is an incredible move. Still is an incredible move. Still is an incredible move. No longer is an incredible move. But H1 is the same. Just go to H1 now.
Yeah, right.
There it is.
Boom.
King's got to move up. Takes the rook for free, and bam. You're looking at a game for SJ Peter in the final. Has to
Yeah.
move it up. Gets that rook clapped. That's a very common position in chess. Always be looking for it. If you do puzzles, that's why I saw that right away, is because that is like, 1/4 of the puzzles you do are some backline thing with your king and rooks. Um, so saw that
Huge.
line, pins the, well, it doesn't, it's not a pin, but like, finds the line king to rook and is able to exploit it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left for Peter. 4 minutes and 10 seconds left for Matthew. But I mean, Matthew's got to pull some hero moves here, boss.
Oh, he couldn't take. Oh, that was smart. I was like, wait, did he just blunder this rook? But no, the pawn can't take because the queen would put it in check. So cannot do that. Was able to pick up a pawn. Really nice play, really nice find by SJP Matthew there. Um, Tries to even up just so slightly. Still positive 4 for L Bloop, or SJP Peter. St. John's Prep, phenomenal organization, have been with us since the very start. Love
Mm-hmm.
their support. Um, their coach supports us and more than just fielding teams and all that. Always is putting in input. There's a good handful of coaches that are really great at helping with input and helping steer the direction of this league. And SJP is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Lots of them. Hill Murray's coach, Ross over at Washington Tech. Um, I mean, I'm gonna forget names. I'm gonna feel bad, but there's a lot of really highly involved coaches.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And
Patrick over
and
at STA. Yeah.
it's not just a normal like coaching job where you just like there's a team that already exists and like all that and you just like, hey, sure, you want me to coach for you, okay, I'll coach for you. It's not just that. Like, let's make something very 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 clear. The vast majority of these schools don't have a ton of support. Some of them do have a little bit more, but even still, when you are a coach for one of these schools, you're putting in a lot of extra time, a lot of extra hours, a lot of time that you're doing for free just because you want to see these students succeed at something they love. So if
Yeah.
there's anybody who deserves giant, giant ups from me and everybody here at MNVL, it's the dang coaches. Let's
Yeah.
go. Thank you
Let's
to the
go.
coaches across this entire league for putting in the hours and being there for those students so that they can come out and do this and have these opportunities. Yes, that's it.
Coaches deserve all the credit. It drives me
100%.
crazy. Not to bash, but it drives me crazy that a national league, less than a month ago, came out with um, this big statement, basically blaming their coaches for all the problems that are happening with forfeits in their league. And I
Hmm.
just couldn't stand it. As a coach myself, and someone who's been coaching since literally the first program or first season of esports in high school esports, um, 5 years ago. Um, we just it's a different ball game, right? I always compare it to like sports where it's like the boys basketball team at my school has like 3 coaches, and there's 12 players and they're playing one sport. Where at our esports program we have 40 players playing 5 sports, and there's just me. I got lucky this year. We have an assistant coach now for our Valorant team, and it has been wonderful to have him.
Hmm.
Um, and it makes a huge difference just for that team. That team is so you saw it. They made it to
Yeah.
state finals, and they're all freshmen
How?
and 13-year-olds that can, are eligible to play in the league,
Yep.
because they are 13, as per our rules, and uh, the same school, the district, St. Louis Park Middle School, St. Louis Park High School. They're that is eligible. That has always been eligible. Every coach that has had that, Zimmerman in particular, has
Yeah.
some 13-year-olds playing up. Um, but um, yeah, there having that assistant coach changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I have noted that, and I am very much working on that. As there's another leak, I am very much working on trying to um, support our programs in that way as well. So that is
Yep.
something also that, as soon as this state tournament is done, is another top priority, is to try to start helping our programs get even more support. That's why, and we get a.
So
I am
there
such a
it
chump.
is.
I'm sorry. L Bloop goes to the finals.
That is it. Yes, L Bloop. Peter, moving on to the state finals here in chess. We got talking about the coaches and we got talking about the gameplay, all of that. But man, Peter, great, great work. Fantastic effort. And now going to those state finals, as we were talking about. And again, thank you to all the players. Thank you to all the coaches who are involved in this. These two, I'll tell you, the part of the reason that we got on that kind of train of thought is because these two were playing so meticulous and so slowly and just so methodical that I mean it was hard. It was hard to figure out what moves were coming, right? There wasn't a ton of stuff to cast because it was like, well, quick move here, and then we wait, and then we wait, and then we wait. But fantastic effort, man. Great, great stuff. Oof. Jake, that was a fun one.
Yeah, it was. It was. I'm excited for the next one. I
You
think we're
got it.
gonna get into a break. I'm looking at the time here, and we may have time to do. Yeah, we don't have time, so we're gonna go straight to the finals. Third place will have to be off stream for us. So good luck for those third place competitors, Matthew, and I believe it is Max. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see L Bloop or SJP Peter and the number one seed Donda from Orono himself face off in our state finals. Uh,
Yeah,
don't go anywhere. I just took
you're
Thunder's jab.
good.
Sorry.
See you shortly. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Minnesota Varsity League's Chess State Tournament. My name is Thunder McFadden, and I am joined by my best friend, Jake the Dad. Jake the Dad making a sweet guest appearance here on the caster desk and absolutely coming in with the hard carry. I'll tell you that because this guy, he doesn't give himself enough credit for how good he is at casting chess. Fantastic stuff today. And, folks, we are going into the finals. It is the finals here at MNVL. It is Donda taking on SJP Peter, the artist also known as L Bloop from Rocket League. So great stuff. And so we have a Rocket League player in the state finals for chess. What on earth? Did not expect to see that. Fantastic storyline. Love that. And now we are getting into the action. Jake, it's another best of three. Super excited.
These two are going to be this is going to be the most exciting match. I mean, obviously it's the finals, it's the most exciting, but these are the top
Mhm.
seeded players in our entire season right now. I'm just make sure that I'm verifying that, but I'm pretty sure SJ Peter is number 2 seed, yes, and
Yep.
Donda is number 1 seed. I'm very excited about that. You actually mentioned something that will be interesting to me because esports is such a game of the mind. How will playing in such a thought intensive game affect his play later in Rocket League tonight.
That's
We'll
right.
see. Maybe anything.
Dude,
Um,
yeah, and I didn't even think about that, that he's playing again tonight, right?
mhm.
I mean, I'm sitting here talking about, "Oh, yeah, this dual sport esport player." No. I completely forgot that he's playing 2 state tournaments in 1 day.
By the way, remember tonight, for everybody who's looking to watch tonight, remember our players are MNVL has some kind of unique opportunities that we're really excited about. They've kind of become regular for us, but remember, this is not common anywhere else. But our Rocket League stream tonight is going to be on an RLCS team's Twitch. So
Yep,
remember tonight, if you're looking to watch Rocket League, it will not be here on MNVL Twitch. It will be over on Torrent Esports Twitch. Ellie, can you please post the Torrent Esports Twitch in the chat? But it is just Torrent Esports. So twitch.tv/Torrent Esports. It will still be on the MNVL YouTube as we are
yep,
co-streaming for the first time this year on both our YouTube and our Twitch right now. But remember, yeah, tomorrow or tonight, the Rocket League will be on Torrent's
yep,
Twitch channel, giving our players a chance to play on a pro stream. Looks like we're jumping in. Let's
yeah,
go. State
but yeah,
finals
state
coming at
finals it
you
is. Let's
right at
go.
this.
On the board.
Smeagol loves state finals.
Beagle,
Yes,
ow!
loves
The
it.
ring, protect the ring.
Ah, protect the person.
One of my absolute favorite
Oh,
things about casting with Jake the Dad is that everybody gets to get just a little experience, a little taste of what the past 14 years have been like for him and I just being weird with each other and being awesome friends. So, welcome everybody.
yeah, I'll just annoy people. I'll do a guest cast for All Stars sometime, and I'll just do voices the entire time. I used
Please.
to do something in my classrooms called 25 voice trivia, where every single question on trivia was a different voice or accent.
Yes.
Um,
Love it.
kids loved it. Whether or not
Great.
they actually did, who knows? But I'm gonna say the kids loved it.
And there it is. And now we have Peter taking on Donda. This is game number 1 of this best of 3, folks. Thank you all for being here. Oh, it's state, baby.
Onda in the black pieces, Peter in the white, both developed. Right now, there's a pawn advantage for Peter already. Picks up that pawn for free. That may have been a gambit. I'm not sure what type of gambit that is. Right now, Donda actually not developing not either of them. Almost an entirely pawn-based game so far. Will develop his knight, rather develop that knight and do a retake on the pawn than take it himself and allow Donda to open up that rook on the A file. Is what it looks like. Either way, I think that rook is going to be open up on that A file, which is nice for Donda. Although he will, go down a pawn for that. Perhaps that is the gambit he is looking to take. Oh, no, he can't. No, he can't.
Ooh,
Because he's got a bishop covering. Yeah, but he's got a knight covering too. Hmm. And a bishop. Yeah, I guess. Yes, he totally can. Never mind. I got excited.
there you
All right,
go.
we'll take the pawn. Looks to be Uh, only way to take that back is the bishop, and he does go with that position or that play. Right now, not a lot of good development options for Peter, where looks like really Donda can develop wherever he'd like. Probably looking to do a castle on king's side, and then move his knight out. He's going to have to move that get that pawn out of there at some point. Um, will develop the bishop out front, looking probably for a castle on the king side himself is El Bloop. And then the queen gets brought out for the first time. Early queen bring outage, as they say. That's the proper term, I believe, in chess. Can I
Definitely
check
the
that?
technical term. Yeah.
Production says that's the technical
Yep.
term. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Queen take outage from in just general terms. Everybody knows it. I
Yep.
like it.
Magnus Carlsen. That's how he. That's what he would say.
It's what the pros would say.
Hmm.
Certainly.
All right. The pawn goes to e5 for the side of Donda. Will open up um, a potential fork on this bishop and knight, and it is anticipated by Peter, so he will move his bishop backwards, trying to avoid that fork in the future. Um, I don't see. I mean, I think at this point, maybe you just start to develop. Maybe you decide to finally take that pawn out. Um, I don't know if you take it out right now because then it puts your queen into a weird situation. Not gonna put your queen in a lot of danger. Just a little weird. And yeah, I feel like Peter has got a really nice position defensively here, where Danny's got a lot better offensive position. It's gonna be really hard to get into that defense that Peter has. A lot of pieces looking at a lot of the same squares. Um, I think it may be time for Donda just to start to develop
Yeah,
or to
maybe
castle.
so.
You can castle and develop that rook. You can put your knight into the D7 spot, which is becoming more and more popular at the pro level these days. Instead of just always developing your knight into the um, six file, or if you're on
Sure.
white side, the three file or three column. I don't know what it's called. File is usually, I think, just A B C D E F G H,
But I
which
get
is
what you're
also
saying. Instead of moving
no.
it out further, moving it over and across, right?
Hmm.
A little more power in the middle of the board makes sense.
It will move his bishop back, trying to free up a little bit of movement for that queen potentially, without giving up much other position. It's not like you're threatening much on that um, diagonal, that dark square diagonal that the queen's looking at right now. Um, a bloop will be the next move, considering his options. We got a time advantage for him, but it is his move now. But he did go first and still does have the time advantage. Danny Lewis um, uh, uh, does like to think a little bit more about his plays. Will defend a pawn now and threaten bringing out his own rook.
I think you're right there, Jake, though. Donda always, and throughout this entire tournament that we've seen, right? Always willing to take the time to make the move that he really wants to. Including, I believe it wasn't it Donda earlier that was taking a super long time in one of those games. Um, I forget exactly which game that was. Either way, Donut throughout the tournament, as we've been watching, willing to take the time, take that extra few moments to figure out not only the next move, but the progressing 3, 4 moves after that. What potential situations or dangerous situations could I end up in? And I like to see that out of both of these players.
So far, just a one pawn lead for SJP Peter and the white pieces. Um, I'm just trying to study the board state right now and see where some potential moves are. I mean, Peter needs to get. That was just what I was going to say. I like moving this pawn. It frees up your bishop. That's a great file for your bishop. It looks at
Yeah.
the queen too. You can threaten the queen in the next move. He's going to try to take out this knight. But what I think you do is you just move this bishop up to a3, threaten queen, say, "Go ahead, take my knight. I don't care if you take my knight. I'm trying to take your queen, get this queen out of this position." And if the queen moves, then you got more pieces looking at this center pawn than your opponent, and you can take it with the knight. If he trades back, then you go ahead and you take it with the queen, and you're free. Depending on where he moves his queen, like if he moves it to e7, that would be a good play for the side of SJP Peter. Um, Going for a think does still considering his options. Peter is actually lower on time than Donda at this point.
Yeah, by about a minute.
Orno versus St. John's Prep.
Oof. Love it, love it, love it. The
Andy Collar
competition, even here at chess, has been awesome and
versus
have been a ton of fun
Charles
today.
Miller. Yeah.
The
And
stalemate
he goes,
earlier,
yeah,
that was
that
nuts.
stalemate was insane.
That
Yeah.
was nuts.
And here we go again. Now, this is the exact move I was looking at. Is able to threaten this queen. He says, if you take my knight, I'm taking your queen. If this queen moves into the wrong position, is then able to attack a couple of different areas on the board. Still completely undeveloped is Donda's uh, both rooks and one of his knights. Um, the bishop is only developed in a way. The light squared one is only developed in a way that allows him to attack essentially nothing. Um, so things are looking really good for Peter here, actually. And they look like they even just got a little bit nicer looking. Um,
Yeah,
Love to see exactly
improving.
where that is hitting. Putting the knight into a more attack-based position. I love when you can stack those knights close to each other. They can cover a lot of ground. So he can place, let's see. If knight were to go to c6, it would be obviously you take with the knight, so knight and then you take with the pawn, then you're threatening the queen. Queen takes your pawn, you take his pawn on the d file on d5 and then you threaten the rook in a8. That could be the move. But looks like Donda is going to go ahead and move that knight to g4, potentially looking for some sort of fork in the future. Um, that's the only thing I can see that move really does. If he moves it to e3, but somehow he's got to get rid of that pawn. He's probably trying to, if maybe he's thinking bait out that pawn. Um, Wait, they can go for a massive trade here if they want. I don't think anybody comes out on top though,
Yeah, you're
and
more
he
just
decides to
clearing
not
the
go for
board
it.
at that point, you think?
Yep. He's able to pick up another pawn, busting up the protection of that e4 pawn. Or wait, was there a pawn there? I thought it maybe there. Yeah, there should have been. Should have been.
I forget
He
exactly. I
stacks.
was more trying to figure out if, as I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out um, if the queen, Black Queen, was going to make it all the way up to d5 and take out a knight up there.
hmm Gorgeous play here is if you can try to figure it out. If it doesn't get seen, you can do rook to for Peter is rook to c1, staring down that bishop, and then you go ahead and move your d5 knight to take on c7, and then you're forking the king and rook, and and the queen can't take you because that rook is protecting it if you move it over to c1. That does take two moves, so it can be blocked at that point. Um, but the only way you block it is by moving your rook or your king right now, and you don't really want to move your king right now. I mean, you could castle it, which would be a pretty smart move as well. Um, so there's some ways to block it. He is going to go with pinning the corner, puts him in check, takes a free pawn, cannot be traded back because the knight is covering it. Could go for the potential bloodbath here. So he can also another move that he can do right now is he can take that knight. If the queen takes it, then he just forks the king and rook. So Peter's got a really good play here. He's got like two really good plays here. But I think you just take that knight with the bishop, cause the queen to come out and retake, and then move your knight from d5 to c7, and then that puts the fork on the king and rook, and then you just completely take position at that point, and
Yeah.
you are now up five, up +6, with a pretty simplified board.
Yeah, certainly. And like you said in there, you could count on ooh, there you go though.
Spicy, but I don't see what that does. Just take it, yeah. And Donda in a interesting position now.
Yeah.
Um, at this point, Peter's just going to move his rook out of the way. He doesn't want that there, but he can move it to a development. He can't develop it. He actually just has to go to F1. I don't think there's any other place that it doesn't die. Um, well, no, 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 no. You can move it to F5. You're not going to sacrifice a queen for a rook, so go ahead and move it to F5 if you'd like. F5 is actually a pretty phenomenal spot. It's a good place to threaten.
Yeah, I think so.
And he
There
does
you
go
go.
with that move. Will he get bait? Will or no Danny Lewis get baited into taking the rook? I doubt it. He's too strong of a player for that. Um, where else are the dangers here for? So here's the thing: is Peter's got a lot of strength. He needs to just get that rook out of A1, move it to C1,
Uh-huh.
look at that file, and and then do the same fork I was talking about. Just do it. C1, knight to C7 takes over the game for you. And there's no counterplay. After that, the game is basically mopped up. Then you just need to start doing these trades because you have a stronger pawn structure on both on left side. I guess you want to play. See, here's the thing. I'm going all over the place. Orno's strong side is the right side, right? The FGH files.
Yep.
But all of his strong pieces are on the other side. So those pawns aren't really protected, and those main pieces aren't really protected by the pawns. So he's in a really tough spot right now, and the generator knows it.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
an
it is
intense state
tough.
finals.
Has has Donda moved the king at all yet? Could he castle still if he wanted to?
Don't believe he has moved the king yet, so he could potentially castle here. Oh, okay, that's covered by the bishop. It is a fork in a way, but one way is just a trade. I don't like that. I liked moving over your rook and then getting a really high value change the entire game fork. But right
Yeah.
now, it's not actually that's not even a fork. That knight that rook is too far away.
Yeah.
Um, is that
So
just
now
a
you got to
free
take the
bishop?
knight up and take that bishop, right?
Yeah,
D4
that
to G5 and you take that bishop, take that out of the mix.
yeah you could you could take it with either knight. You could take it with that E7 knight
That's
too.
true.
But yeah, he's probably looking at that for a second, being like, wait a second, why is this free? This
Mm,
shouldn't be free.
right.
Not only is it free, but it's also a great position. He covers his two knights are covering each other now. Hmm. And if you're L Bloop looking at this position, do you want to trade kings, queens? You might. You got such a stronger position than your opponent. Mhm, 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 mhm. There's a lot of trades you could do. I like doing any trade right now that doesn't involve any trade for Peter right now, just because he's got. I mean, they're slightly even, but this H8 rook is it might as well be dead. It cannot do anything. It literally will not be able to do anything for a very long time. So he's basically down a rook that can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Does end up taking another piece, um, but it is a trade. Everything trades are good though when you're in this kind of position. Um, going to try to go and attack that queen.
Chase her
Queen
down a little
has
bit.
queen has several escape options, so she's not too worried. Um, that was one of them. The generator is very, very happy right now, and that is because yeah, it's a pretty good move. Rook is forced to go up to a7. The only move to avoid being killed here. Free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on points. That's free. They
Getting
are
down to
running
the
both low
wire
on
in this
time.
game
Yeah,
now.
40 seconds left.
Yeah. Yeah. Down to the wire, and oof.
We're in
Things
bullet
looking
chess now.
good for Peter right now.
We are in bullet chess. Peter's only 1 point up, but his position is just so much stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And you got 20 seconds left. And that is clicking down. Did we have a lobby error or no? I hope not. Okay.
We do have a move.
No lobby error. We get a move. I don't love it. He loses his rook here. Goodbye, rook. Right? Just take it, Peter. What?
Hmm. Interesting.
He's lining it up. But now you got two rooks. Two rooks. Take them. Take them. I don't care if there's a checkmate. I just want to see it. Ah, he won. Okay,
There it
there we go.
is. Peter will win game number 1 in these chess state finals here at Minnesota Varsity League, folks. Thank you all for being here. What a day it's been so far. Jake, Master Shake,
He
Jake the
wants it.
dad right there, okay, holding a beautiful trophy. And whoever wins this is going to win that. Going to win
Which
that thing right
game
there.
two?
Beautiful
Yeah.
piece of hardware.
Who's bringing that home?
We shall
All
see.
right.
Jonda v. Peter. Does Peter have what it takes to end this thing?
And we are looking maybe at another King's Indian for the side of El Bloop. Starting that's usually a telltale sign when you bring that up. We got a nice standard opening two. Usually that's not your second move in the King's Indian. King's Indian, you usually want to bring up your protecting pawn. But this is definitely King's Indian. There's no question about that. But the thing is, he's got a really strong move now to counter it by going pawn to e5. Um, what you typically would want to do is move your d7 pawn up one space before you bring that knight out. And what that does is it protects that from that move attacking your knight.
Mm-hmm.
So both players not super familiar with the King's Indian, it looks like. And he actually moves that pawn out two spaces, which is not the standard King's Indian. King's Indian is usually always moving it to that one position right there. And he doesn't blunder. He did that to cover the knight moving forward. That's an interesting variation. I'm not familiar with that variation actually. Um,
Hmm.
if it perhaps it is a thing, it looks like to be a thing. It looks pretty strong. Looks like he can pin the knight here, but we'll go with um, one less position than I thought him. Thought he might bring it to g4. Now he's bring it back to where he's at by and force the pawn to move out of a defending position for the king. That's sometimes what you'll do there. That h2 pawn. Right now, if you're Donda, you're probably thinking it's time to develop some pieces. Maybe bring your knight to to the space that he just put his pawn.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this where this knight is for El Bloop, and if I'm Donda, I'm trying to get rid of it. Look at that. That's a nifty looking position. Wow, what an interesting position.
Yeah.
Because what he can do here is if he moves, if this knight, like if these pieces move a little bit, and this knight can get into a position where it attacks or puts king into check, he can end up he's also attacking with the bishop at the same time. So he's either attacking that bishop, he's looking at that another knight down the on the B1 square. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, really neat, and everything's covered. But then again, he's only got a few pieces out. There's a really long line of pawns for Donda from B2 until E5. And
Donda
let's
taking
see.
some time here,
Yeah,
taking
this
some real time to figure out what these next moves are gonna be.
yeah, he is facing elimination, so he's got to make sure that no mistakes are made. He's probably he's doing a long think here. He's going to get 2 minutes behind on time um, from this, but hopefully he can use that time to create an advantageous position for himself. Um,
Yeah, certainly.
I don't hate C C4 pawn to C4 because you take and you kind of break up his center structure a little bit.
Mhm.
It's just a pawn for a pawn. And you also oh, he goes for the castle. That's also not bad.
Yeah, not so
Good to
bad.
defend. He develops his rook here, which is also very smart and good play. Development of the knight for the side of L Blue or SJP Peter.
Mhm.
Queen will go back a space, wondering what he is thinking here. Perhaps cutting off the queen's entrance into the H file. But that was already cut off by the knight on F3, so hmm. I usually like to keep those things stacked, the queen and bishop when you can. It's always nice to stack your queen with another piece. A lot of threats that way. A lot of ways to make threats.
Yeah,
Um,
certainly. And we are just getting word here, actually, that SJP Matthew won the consolation matchup, winning third in state. Big ups to SJP Matthew. Nice work. And I'm sure
Congrats, man.
Matthew now got to be tuning in, seeing if our other SJP player going to catch a dub here as well.
Yeah, he's got to be cheering on his teammate. You always want your teammate to win, but he also got knocked out by SJP Peter, so you kind of want the person you lost to win the whole thing. So it makes you
Yeah,
feel a little
right.
bit better about, you know,
Exactly.
that was Minnetonka was rooting on SLP last night because they're like, oh, we want to lose to the best team. We don't want to lose to the team that gets second,
Yeah,
and hope
sure.
that
Right,
we
right,
could have
right.
maybe put up something better.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, you only get as many shots as are right there. And here we are, match point, right? If Peter wins, it's all over, And again, we keep saying it, no second chances. No no what is that from the Flintstones movie? No second helpings at the buffet of life, man. Get after it. Okay, you get one shot right here. Let's go.
Oh
John
yes,
John Goodman,
the
dude.
cult classic.
John Goodman, let's
Yeah,
go.
John Goodman, known for
Yeah.
his portrayal of Fred Flintstone, far
Yeah.
before his portrayal of Walter from
Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. Yeah,
Yeah. Love
except for
it.
they both bowlers, both big
Yes.
bowlers.
Yep, they are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got a thing. Got a type.
All right, they will go for a pawn trade here. Looks like the center is still pretty well guarded for both teams. One with a kind of diamond structure, the other one with a line. Rook will be developed. This is looking nice. There's a big open file, and that's C file for that rook to take command of. Anything that's going down there, we'll have to check in with him first and see like, hey, am I protected? If not, that guy is going to be taking me out as a really strong position to be in for SJP Peter. Um, the knight um, of Danny Lewis is completely trapped.
Oof.
Oh my goodness, they did not like that move. That opened up something very spicy for the side of SJP Peter. He's going to go ahead and take that, and he knows exactly what he's going to do here.
There you
Moves the
go.
queen, gets the queen out of position there. What am I missing? I mean, obviously, there's some. play at checkmate here that I am not
Mhm.
entirely seeing.
Well, that king, I mean, is back in that corner, man, and you have got bishop, knight, queen all on the attack here between the E and the H file, looking fantastic, right?
I
So,
think,
I mean, a ton
yeah,
of options that you got there if you're Peter, man.
I think what you do here is you you
Oof.
take the bishop, you take the pawn with you sacrifice your bishop for that pawn. Pawn takes, move queen to g3, forcing the king into the back corner. And then once in the back corner, you can move your knight to f2, get taken by the rook, kill it with the queen, and then kill bishop, and you basically have taken most pieces. I don't know. That may be the move. It doesn't
Mhm.
give you checkmate, but it gives you pretty close. It gives you pretty close. I must be missing something else here that is interesting. That queen is pretty lonely over there too. I'm a little nervous about it.
I like the positioning right here of the E4 knight for Peter because one move over to G3 and then all of a sudden you got Donda being like, I gotta get my castle out the way, you know? And especially for Donda right now, being at a slight disadvantage,
Oh
castle's
yeah.
not something you want to be giving up in this
Oh shoot.
position, right?
That is the move, Thunder. You
Yeah,
found it. That I'm not seeing. That's actually a
yeah,
fork. That's a
that's
guaranteed
it.
castle or rook.
Yep.
Guaranteed castle or rook there. Or castle or rook. Those are the same
Castle or
thing.
bishop, you mean.
Castle or
But
bishop.
either
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's right.
Ooh, got chili in my
Big
house. I
brain
don't know what
chess
that's
plays out
that
of
is.
your boy Thunder McFadden. You'll get him every once in a while.
Yeah. And Peter is just thinking for or Danny Lewis is thinking for a while. No, wait. Peter's thinking for a while. He's at a positive one. He's got a fork available to him. He's also got an interesting trade available to him where it's a disadvantage trade as far as points go, but it's advantageous as far as position goes. Um, I also noticed that there he goes. That's the trade I was talking about. So he goes ahead and takes that pawn,
Yep.
forcing this take of his bishop.
Which
Will he take?
if you're Donda, I mean you make that move, don't you?
I believe so.
Don't you kind of have to, or
You could, I mean, you could let him
to take
take
a line from you? Is there something I'm missing? In where Donda's at that you wouldn't end up taking that bishop because what you're going to trade out that pawn as well. Queen's just going to drop in there and take the pawn right afterwards. Am I right?
potentially. So I'm trying to work out all these different variations in my head. Um, I still think probably the next move is going to be that either the knight positioning because you can't move the queen in just yet. The knight being able to take out the rook would basically be devastating, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going to take out the rook either way, right? It's going to make the rook move, and then it's going to kill the bishop, and then the rook is going to have to probably trade back, and at that point, it's you're in some hot water.
Right.
So this we may be seeing SJP Peter looking at winning in 2 games and being our state finals champion.
Wow. What?
Really in
And
position.
first, I mean, well, I know we said it before, and it pays to say it again, right? Peter here. Peter is equal to L Bloop from the SJP Rocket League squad. So Peter, no matter how this finishes, is going to go ahead and play in one state finals, going to take a little lunch break, and then is going to come on right back and play in another state finals,
Yeah.
right? I mean, hey, doing it. Doing it.
Yep.
I got a lot of respect for you. I got a double stream today too there, L Bloop. So you and me, we're in it together. Let's go. Let's do it. I love it.
Oh yeah. There've been 12-hour days for myself and your friendly admin
Oh yeah.
uh MNVL Jason the last 3 days. Tomorrow will be another
100%.
12-hour or 10 hour day. Nice little 75-hour week for them. I will
Yeah.
not be here tomorrow, so you guys all be on your best behavior. It's my wife's birthday. Jason's gonna be
Watch
holding it
yourselves.
down. Productions, yeah, you
Watch
watch
yourselves.
yourselves.
You watch
Remember, there's a
yourselves.
VOD. All
Jake,
right.
your dad, he
Anyways,
said it.
he moves it down. Anyways, he moves the knight to the G3 position, looking to threaten that rook. Also threatening just a straight up position of like that rook can't. If the rook moves somewhere, he's no longer protecting the king. Um, wha- hmm.
Time dwindling away here
After
too for Donda, Jake.
yeah,
2.5 minutes.
after you move the rook away, the question becomes, what the heck do you do after that? Um, This knight is still just hanging out here, like can be taken by uh uh Donda's queen at any point. What are you gonna do? Waste a move trying to and all of a sudden your opponent's setting up his offense even more.
Yeah.
This is getting exciting, but I'm not sure how this gets resolved. Oh, he just trades the rook for the oh, it's still a trade. It's not bad. Rook for knight and a
Yeah.
bishop. We'll take that. Still ahead by one. But positioning says a whole lot more
Yeah, it
because right
certainly
now
does.
he's got a few looks here. I think in this position, hmm, you can't move your bishop, so that's dead. I think you just take this knight with your queen. But even then, what do you do after? It's check. Move your knight out right now. Yep, knight to d2 is for sure the best move for Donda. It protects
Mm-hmm.
his bishop from the queen. Protects from the queen.
Big protect.
DC's the queen. Um,
Yep.
if you know the old VR chat memes that that I'm referring to, the Crazy Knuckles group. Um, all right, he does take the knight. That was the wrong move. Now he's in check. He just does a trade. Um, and now just start mopping up these pawns. I
Yep.
actually, yeah, I like the pawn first.
Over on H3.
Yeah, I mean, it's not doing anything and won't for the rest of the game, so you can totally ignore it too, I guess. I mean, it's not going to be doing much.
Yeah.
Um,
One,
Dona needs
two,
to get his
four.
queen in some business. She's pretty trapped back here. It's going to take a couple moves for her to get into somewhere relevant.
Yeah, but only 30 seconds left. That's it.
Oh
It'll
my
be
goodness.
over in just a couple of minutes there, Jake.
Yep. Donda's time period has been slow, and look at he gives up this. I saw this. This is the same play. Anybody who does puzzles, I'm telling you, every over and over.
Mm-hmm.
If yep, he needed to move into a different location. That will be check. And now he can. I think you just. I mean, just start advancing your pieces, taking trades,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you're positive 7. Offer these trades whenever you can see them. Oh,
There it
never
is.
mind. This checkmate.
Peter with
Nice.
another checkmate, and that is that your state champion is SJP Peter, also known as El Bloop on the field. Wow. SJP Peter going to take home that trophy that my best friend Jake is hucking around and hanging on to right there. That beautiful piece of hardware goes to you. You. Way to go. State champion in MNVL chess. It is Peter out of St. John's Prep. Wow. Wowza, folks. It has been a fantastic day so far. Sheesh. Oh, it's been good. Jake, amazing casting as always. You may not believe me, but I mean it, and so does everybody else. You're killing the game. Folks, we're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to interview our champion so that he can get a little lunch break before he goes and grabs a controller for Rocket League. Dang it. So we'll take a break, and we'll be back in a few moments. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Minnesota Varsity League State Tournament. What a day it has been so far. My name is Thunder McFadden. I'm joined by my best friend, Jake the Dad. And guess what? We are fortunate enough to interview our champion. It is Peter from SJP. Peter, how are you feeling? You're state champ.
Really good, but also quite shaky. I'm still coming out for the last game.
Yeah, how did it feel? How did that win feel? It seemed like you two, it seemed so tense the whole time. Explain the matchup to me, both game one and game two of your 2-0. How nerve wracking was all of that?
So both game one and game two were very I don't know, unorthodox games for me because I
Okay.
did some piece sacrifices, which I had to think a lot before I do that. Like about so not necessarily Greek gift, but kind of the same format of that in game two where I sacrificed the bishop, and it didn't go quite the way I thought it would. There's a lot going through my head.
Mhm.
I'd just say it was very nerve wracking, but good matchup.
It was
No,
fantastic.
yeah, it was really good. Now we saw you on the black side a few times, trying to employ either a King's Indian, and I also noticed a very interesting variation to your King's Indian. Is that intentional? And also, what are some other openers, theory-based openers that you really like to employ?
So when I'm playing black, I like to play the King's Indian. It's because I play it. Well, that's like my most knowledge base opening I have for black side. But as I was like preparing this week, I started doing other openings for white side, uh, mainly the Queen's Pawn opening and some knights. And I usually try to transpose from the Indians' defense into a mid attack. Um, I don't castle right away because I try to gain tempo by not doing that.
Was it? And I may be wrong. Prof- uh, 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 sorry about my unprofessionalism, but was it you who did a King's Indian once and just moved your king one space over? Was that a mechanical error? Were you trying to
Yeah,
castle or?
I was trying to castle and I mouse slipped.
Oh
Oh man.
no, 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 no. Jake, hey, Jake made that comment. He was like, "Oh, it must have been a misclick." And I tried to be like, "Well, you never know, blah blah." And Jake was like, "No, no, that was a misclick." And so
I've
on
done
the
it so many
confirmed,
times, yeah.
Peter, I love that. I love
I,
that.
I was really so it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be because I was able to get my king around, but it,
Mhm.
it definitely yeah it was not what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Great stuff. So tell me this. What are you doing in 1 hour and 21 minutes?
oh, 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 I'll be playing Rocket League.
That's what I'm talking about. Our state champ here in chess, folks, is going to take off the Peter hat, put on the L Bloop hat, put away the keys and the mouse, and go ahead and grab the controller and get into it for Rocket League. So tell me this. What kind of energy are you carrying right now into the rest of the day? You're going to have a long day ahead of you. We were just talking, some of us here at MNVL, we got long days too. How are you going to carry your energy? What are you going to do through the rest of the day now that you are a state champion in MNVL?
Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is get a cup of coffee,
There you go.
and then
Me too.
and then I'm gonna hopefully carry my energy towards not only me but my teammates as we go into the state tournament for Rocket League.
Fantastic. Jake, do you have anything
Yep.
else for
Oh yeah,
SJP Peter here?
I've a couple questions. I'm always interested in hearing. So, Peter, how did you get your gamer tag?
Oh, my gamer tag. Um,
Oh, yeah.
that's a long, not really long story, but when I was a kid, I was like into fish. I like we had some fish, and I used to be like kind of um I liked fish just generally, and
Hmm.
so this sound they make is bloop, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so my siblings used to like call me Mr. Bloop because I would say
Oh,
a lot.
really?
Yeah. So it was originally Mr. Bloop, and then I took a Spanish class in high school. I'm like, I'm gonna change my name to El Bloop
Nice.
just
Ooh,
for fun. And that's where
I
it is now.
like it. I
Yeah.
like it
I
a
love hearing those
lot.
stories. I love hearing about how people got their gamer tags because it's
Oh,
always
yeah.
right? And there's always a good story behind it. Last question I have for you, Peter, is you are coming from one of the longest running esports programs in the state. What is it like to play with a more organized or storied organization? Um, how do you feel like Coach Miller's coaching style is that lends you to be so successful in many esports?
Mr. Miller. He's been really good, like very supportive of what we've been doing. He's put a lot of time toward, or a lot of time toward what we have done, and like making our facilities really good for playing, organizing events so that people show up to it. Like the scene within St. John's Prep has grown a ton compared to last year, even the year before. So with esports and like all online, now that COVID has settled down a little bit, is now turning into like events that people get together with and cheer on teammates and classmates, and it's really awesome. It helps with a lot of the motivation in doing this. It's great to have that.
Well, we
Love
hope
that.
COVID settles down even a little bit more so we
Yeah.
can do exactly what you're talking about because we used to
Yeah.
have in-person games. We had our big state tournament planned for at TCF Bank Stadium back in the day when COVID first hit and canceled those plans. And since we've been doing it online since, we appreciate you players coming out and taking the time and competing online for us. We want to get you back in front of each other as soon as possible. I will never I do make those calls. I would never sacrifice your guys' safety. I just refuse to do that. But I really want to get us back to the lands as soon as it is safe to do so. Um, so thank you very much, Elblue. Thanks for answering my questions, and I'll turn it back over to Thunder.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, Peter, great work again, state champ. Do you have any final shout outs before we let you get going?
Um. Yeah. Shout out to my parents for introducing me to chess, and my brother-in-law
Yeah.
for teaching me a bunch of tactics over the year.
Well, it paid
Awesome.
off.
It definitely paid off. You are a state champion, and now, hey, that right there on the stream, you're looking at it. That is your hardware, L Blue. Well, I guess it's on a 3 minute delay, so you'll have to see it in 3 minutes. But look at the stream in 3 minutes. That's your trophy, my man. Congratulations, way to go! And I'm gonna let you get going so you can get that cup of coffee. I'm gonna go get myself one. I'm gonna get the biggest cup that they make of
Yep.
coffee. And then we're gonna continue rolling. I can't wait to cast you again today, bro. Go get your L bloop going, and I'll see you in a bit, okay?
All right. See you. Have a good one.
Take care. Awesome stuff. Well, it has been an amazing, amazing day so far. Thank you all for being here, folks. We're going to be back in just over an hour for Rocket League. On behalf of everybody here at the production staff, I want to say thank you to Jake the Dad for joining me. He does it like once a year, maybe twice a year, and I know how much you don't like to cast sometimes, but man, I love casting with you. I love looking on the screen and seeing our faces together, and I know I know my wife does too, and it's amazing. So love you lots, man. Congratulations, great work. Thank you. Thank you to everybody on production staff. Thank you to all the viewers. My name is Thunder McFadden, and for us, it is done here at MNVL Chess. We'll be back in a little bit with Rocket League. Take care, everyone.